Wait, I fart. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Advantage in Paradise. We are back with a live episode after last week's recorded episode that some of us watched with you, where a lot happened. And now the party is in a very interesting situation. We'll get to that very soon. But just as a reminder, our audio is brought to us by Sirenscape for our ambient sounds. Um, and with that combined with tabletop audio, and then of course our music is licensed music through soundstripe.com. So I'm going to turn it over now to Shannon for some social media information and some news about our giveaways.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of stuff to talk about. Hi everybody. Hope you're having a lovely start to your week. So first, I'm going to talk about our partners, and then I'm going to give you the lowdown on all the giveaways that are happening. Sean, do you have the Dice Vault nearby? I'm going to give you a second to
I
find
do.
it.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah. I'm doing partners first. I'll give you a second.
It's over there.
Okay, go get it. All right, so we love the following people. We love a lot of people, but these friends have been so supportive of Paradice. Talon and Claw are the creator of gorgeous wooden tabletop accessories like DM screens, dice vaults, dice, etc. A lot of us use the Talon and Claw dice here at Paradice, and they roll beautifully. Usually, I rolled 2 nat 20s, so I love them. They were our first official partner, and if you use the code Paradice, you will get 10% off of your order. Our next partner is Arcane Spectacles. I'm going to talk a little bit more about them in a little bit, but they are the creator of beautiful spell trackers and other tabletop accessories. And just like with Town and Claw, if you use the code Paradice, you will get 10% off any item in their Etsy shop. I also am going to talk a little bit more about this next partner, Underground Oracle Publishing. They are the creators of incredible D&D 5e supplements, and our lovely Cal uses the prongs of the black weapon. I put it to real good use last episode. We can't wait to incorporate more of their amazing creations. And last but not least, we have Ed, who you saw our beautiful waiting screen. You have the whole gang there. Ed drew everybody, and they just look amazing. It is so wonderful to work with, so professional, and just an all-around great guy. So if you are looking for your next D&D character commission, definitely check him out. All right, giveaway time. So next week on August 10th, nope, not that yet, put that down. On August 10th, we are going to be doing a giveaway from Arcane Spectacles. We're going to be giving away a beautiful blue and purple spell tracker. And we don't know when in the stream we're going to be giving it away, but we're going to hype it all this week, and we're going to give it away at some point during next week's stream. So if you would like a chance to win that spell tracker, I tweeted a picture of it earlier today, and I'm sure I'll tweet it thousands of more times this week. Be with us next week on August 10th so that you can have a chance to win. Also, make sure that you follow Arcane Spectacles on Twitter and favorite their shop on Etsy to get all of the latest updates. Thank you guys for this opportunity for this giveaway. We're really excited, and it's my first time getting to do one on Nightbot, so I'm really excited to do it too. Okay, now you can hold up the dice vault. We are running a 2-part 2K giveaway on Twitter, and we are so close to doing part 1. Literally, we are 10 followers away from giving away this beautiful Wenge dice vault from Walnut Workshop. Look at that. 10 followers, and that could go to one of you lovely people. Excellent. So let's see if we can make it happen, and I can pick a winner tomorrow. That would be awesome, and then Sean will send it out to you. So when we hit 1750 followers, we get that dice vault. When we hit 2K, we are going to be giving away volumes 1 and 2 of the Underground Oracles quarterly. Now, I have a list here of all the wonderful things that you could find in there. And in volumes 1 and 2 of the quarterly, you will find things like new archetypes, spells, creatures, festivals, locations, new backgrounds, NPCs, artifacts, a new deity and her domain, a new otherworldly patron, a new guild, magic items, adventuring gear, variant rules and game options, feats, guilds and cults, GM options, locations, the Marabu, which is a brand new race, and tons of deep lore to tie everything together. So if that sounds like something you would like to have in your nerdy little world, help us get to 2,000 followers, and that could be yours. So thank you everybody for your amazing support here on Twitter and everywhere. You guys are wonderful. Let's play some D&D.
Yeah, UO Publishing, they've got something I might be bringing into the stream is really cool. I haven't checked it out yet, but I love the idea of it, which is romantic energies and magic, which is blood magic, which I'm very into the idea of. So I'm going to take a look at that and maybe incorporate it into our stream a little, as they all shake their heads.
Blood for the blood god. Blood for the blood god.
Skulls
Okay.
for the skull throne.
All right, let's get into it,
Warhammer.
folks. All right. All right. All right, folks. So tonight on episode 43, it is on the 28th night of Uravala on a Tears Dog, which I guess really it's the 29th of Uravala, because you guys have been spending all night sort of in this this criminal area. I gotta just like print out my days of the week. Vensdog, very similar to Wednesday. So, you've found yourselves infiltrating the villainous district of Oranshire, known as the Blighted Row or the Gap. Why would such heroes find themselves rubbing shoulders with the criminal underbelly of Zverwold? To save your friend and party member Scarlet, who has been taken captive by the leader of a wing of the Highland Syndicate known as the Butchers. This Erdwulf Thatcher, or as you all learned from Scarlet's former partner in the Crimson Court, her long-lost brother Rhys, has captured Scarlet for whatever means he deems fit, and you have gathered together to rescue her, deciding to, for the most part, move in two fronts to approach where she's being held in the Amber Thistle, the headquarters and tavern of the Highland Butchers. So you made your way into the Gap using the rich children of the lords of Oranshire, some young nobles around the age of Cal who had promised entry into the Gap for the purposes of partying and gambling and participating in the fighting pits. You successfully met up with them and followed them into the Gap. All the while, Timber had separated from the party, rendezvoused with a mysterious figure known as Bogdasha, who seems to be an agent of the monastery Timber once called home, known as the Sulk, with mentions of various arcane and mysterious things, such as the Way of the Dawn and the Way of the Dusk, and a figure known as Astraeus. You also, or at least the audience, learned that Timber has another name he goes by, Kaze. Similarly, we learned in previous episodes that Scarlet also goes by another name, Rowan. So, and many, many, many moons ago, we learned Cal's real last name.
What about all my secret names?
And Wiswick's secret names are not secret, they're just myriad and hard to remember. But Timber had resumed his woven form to follow the party and keep a distance so that he could engage with the Highland Butchers of his own accord. Now, his snooping around eventually led to him joining with Wiswick after Cal and Curon had made their way via a winning in a fighting pit against another contestant, a large giant man that Cal just absolutely demolished, and won a seat, really the sole seat, in a contest in the Amber Thistle itself, because rumor has that the Airwolf Thatcher has a honored guest tonight, which you all soon found out, or at least Cal found out, was Warden Bjorg, the de facto leader of Oranshire. So as Cal entered with Curon at his side, he entered into the pits as three dire wolves were released from cells below to fight him down below in the sands. At this time, Timber confronted Wiswick, and they started to explore the Blighted Row a little bit, particularly taking a look in the windows of a warehouse they had only heard mentioned as the Needle and Thread, where they saw the Highland butchers were mugging passed out drunks, taking all their valuable belongings, and they learned the seriousness and deadliness of the butchers as they watched one of the drunks get rowdy and disruptive, and they swiftly brought an axe to his skull. Rather murder than deal with that sort of trouble. You very quickly decided to refocus on the task at hand and find your way in to the sewer canals beneath the Amber Thistle and the Gap. It was there that you began to creep through and eventually found yourselves in a room with a larger canal system and several guards on patrol near a small wharf with a rowing boat in the canal. You made your way through carefully, sticking close to the shadows and knocking out the guards that you could, and not alerting the other guards around the caverns. At this same time, Curon was sneaking away from the crowds to find his way down below, having heard this cries from Scarlet in her prison cell beneath the fighting pit, beneath the trap door that Cal stood on now. He found his way down there and eventually first walked up to a guard and and pretty much just said, "I believe you're with the butchers," and then brought him down with a single inflict wounds, killing him and allowing him to have time to find a way to open the door that he could hear Scarlet on the other side of, or assumed Scarlet was on the other side of. With some hacks of his glaive and hacks of his spiritual weapon, and finally a burst of sacred flame, the door was launched off of its hinges, and he found himself with Scarlet. He quickly found a set of filleting knives that would help Scarlet pick the lock. She was not successful, and he sort of grew ever more frustrated at the barricades. He just simply sacred flamed the lock and burst it from the cage, and he began to drag her out as he heard the voice of Timber and Wiswick, who at this point, upon joining with Curon, had gone down to secure passageway out of the Amber Thistle via the canals below. It was all during this time that Cal above had made quick work of the dire wolves, taking little to no damage and mostly keeping them at bay a little bit to try to draw more time for his friends below. But upon defeating these wolves swiftly and without much damage at all, Thatcher decided to skip ahead to the third round of this fighting pit, releasing a large Mortroll upon Cal, who, although it did get one good hit on him, he swiftly, quicker than any swordsman anyone had seen before, as he took a stance that we've seen him take before, he brought this troll down in a single round with several swipes of the prongs of the black, and at last, as the troll gurgled with its last breath, a swift punch between the eyes to bring the troll to its demise. It was at this point that Curon and Scarlet throughout this time had been launching sacred flames and produce flames onto the trapdoor that Cal was above, trying to weaken it to help get Cal out of there quickly, since he was completely surrounded and had quite literally no other way out, except perhaps to run into the bestiary where all these monsters had been coming out of. But it was in this moment that he had his, as he could hear the flames licking the boards beneath him, he looked up to Thatcher, and with a somewhat mocking salute and bow, message, he flung his other rapier, because he has several swords, and he could spare one, but in a very decisive and intimidating move, launched the rapier towards Thatcher, and it broke through the pallid mask that he was wearing, the pallid mask we've seen before, or at least one like the ones we've seen before, and it shattered parts of the wood of the mask and fish hooked Fletcher to his own high-backed chair at the dais, who he quickly pulled his face aside, ripping his own flesh, blood gushing down from the wound as he looked furiously at Cal, who, with a quick smirk, jumped up and people's elbow down onto the trap door, breaking it in its weakened form and collapsing down. It was at that point you heard Thatcher announcing certain things, and quickly you heard commotion upstairs as you heard the slicing of throats and the rattling of blades and armor as quickly as you're dragging yourselves out from this chamber. You see the corpse of Warden Bjorg dropped down into the pit, dead, his throat slit. Seemingly, you were not the focus of Thatcher tonight. His true purpose was the murder of Warden Bjorg. It was at this point that several of the thugs of the Highland Butchers began teaming into the halls, searching for you as you escaped. Wiswick and Timber making quick work of the guards outside as you all descended down. Curon carrying Scarlet all throughout because of her broken leg, and you all squeezed onto this rowboat. Timber and Cal began to row quickly, and as the Highland Butchers arrived at the wharf, you watched as Thatcher began to channel a fireball, one last effort to stop your escape. And as it was brought to its apex, Wiswix was going to have none of that, and quickly cast counterspell, completely dismissing this fireball, much to the deeper anger of Thatcher, as Curon and Timber cast darkness spells around you to conceal your escape and prevent attacks upon you as you escaped into the tunnels of the sewer canals. Whew. And
That was only like 12 minutes, Sean. Nice job.
I paused a lot less than I usually do. I had a rhythm that time.
Just steamrolled it.
So that is where we left off. You find yourselves rowing into this dark tunnel at this point. The unnatural darkness behind you, preventing you from seeing back into the space where your enemies were pursuing you. But you saw no other boats in that canal when you took this one. As you catch your breath, let your heart rate try to come down, and try to think about what you're going to do next. What would you all like to do?
I'm going to keep rowing.
Yeah. Keep going.
Stroke.
Hey, Timber.
Yes.
I don't know if we're all the way out of this yet, but I just wanted to say, like, we're usually on the opposite sides of things, and I really wasn't sure how well we were going to pull off what we did, and I gotta say, good work. Like, we really pulled that one out of there. Like, no problem. We got everybody out of there nice and easy. It was a cakewalk.
Yeah, no problem.
I don't think you've been in too many of these situations. I appreciate and I approve of your approval of me, but we're not out of the woods yet. Even though this isn't the woods, this is.
Yes, we're in a sewer.
We're in a sewer. But Wiswick,
Metaphor.
yes, metaphor.
Say, still rowing.
Once we're out of the town, we'll have this conversation. And thank you, Wiswick.
So as you look about the tunnel, it's circular in nature. It's got the arched ceiling. You hear the dripping and the rats. You can see in the dim light the kind of sides where people can walk that are above the water. Scarlet, you're kind of staring into the darkness, woozy. Despite Curon's healings, you're still feeling the pain and the throbbing of your broken leg as you begin to kind of catch up to what all just happens there. Seeing your friends, you're kind of coming in and out as you see your friends all around you. You see Cal and Timber rowing, sort of panicked and looking back over their shoulders.
Real quick, would a healer's kit have stuff to make a splint?
Yes, it would.
Okay.
Have one.
Yeah,
Good.
she does have a splint already on her
Okay.
leg that Thatcher's medics had splinted up her leg at one point.
Okay. Well, Kieran will still attempt to, look at her medically wise, make sure that the splint is well set and the bone is doing all right.
John, if I look over my shoulder, do I see a light at the end of this tunnel? Or
Not currently.
so like we got a long way to go.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not going to be just sort of a quick, 5-minute jaunt. You're unsure how far you are from the opening of this tunnel.
So we have a potential problem.
I mean, you
and-
can't be. You're definitely not like miles and miles and miles. You know the river
Right.
is close, but you don't know how many twists and turns there are.
Vizek, do you happen to know where we are? Or could you summarize where we're going or where we need to go? Actually, before we decide that, we should get out of the city, correct?
No,
Yeah.
we can't leave yet.
Thatcher has
We-
eyes
No,
everywhere.
he just killed the warden. So
He killed the
We
warden?
definitely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. I think I'm the only one that saw that. Yeah,
You are. Yeah. Yeah.
So the warden was there. I had seen them enter earlier.
Yes, my
And,
brother. We can't leave yet.
So the warden's dead, and I like pat Scarlet on the shoulder, who I think
Yeah.
is like lying down the boat, right?
So
So
does that
and
mean-
the warden was killed right as I left. So I would imagine that Thatcher, this is either a coup or some kind of general uprising, and so I don't think we're going to want to be here either. A, because he's about to take over the city, or B, there's about to be enough chaos that we won't be able to actually maintain anything.
We can't
Security is the word I'm looking
leave.
Either way, we need to get out.
for. Agreed.
Do you hear me? He has my brother.
He did.
I know he's there.
And he has
He's-
my wife.
Yes, but
But
We're on
what?
the we're on,
But what?
we're on a bit of a back foot right now, Scarlet. We need to recover and
Your leg is
Then-
broken. You can't move.
that's true. And I'm, to be honest, kind of hurt. and
Scarlet,
I-
did you see your brother?
no, he wouldn't let me.
So how
Anyway.
do you know he's there?
Because I know he's there. Silas told me he was there. And that Gilbert told me he was there. We have to go back. Plus all my stuff is there. I have nothing.
We can buy new stuff. You just had a couple of daggers, correct?
I want to go back.
Scarlet, we're not going back. That is distance. We can drop you off right here if you would like.
No, we can't. She'll die.
yeah, no, we definitely can't.
I know.
So
I
so
was
we-
I
there's no
was I
problem.
was
There's two-
trying to teach her
Let's
something.
deal with living first. Let's deal with living first.
Correct.
There's two problems as I see it right now. One, the enemy almost certainly knows where the tunnel comes out. So unless we've been able to outpace them, which hopefully we have, as I say, as I keep rowing, Sean. And even then they'll know where we're headed, right? They'll be able to track the boat. So we need to, as soon as possible, get off the river. But I think in the meantime, it is our fastest way out. So I think it's not necessarily a bad thing. But we need to be prepped for some kind of enemy activity at the mouth of this tunnel. Second of all, there's a solid chance that they know where we're staying and where our things are. So somebody needs to get a message to Robert immediately and have him get our things and get out and meet us downriver.
Actually,
Caleb's there. Caleb's there.
You
too.
guys
Also,
thought I was
Caleb's there
silly
too.
when I thought of this plan, huh?
And I take out my sock
Wait.
and I start writing a note to put in there.
Oh yeah, Robert's
Oh.
got the stock. Forgot about that. No, I actually thought this was a great plan. I don't think I've been funny at all for this one.
good job, Physic. Now,
Other problem, side note, I guess. Right, Timber, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you're the only one whose face they don't know, right?
That is correct. He's not seen my face.
They only know Wiswick's voice.
Oh, okay. So, Timber's for sure safe. Wiswick is potentially, let's call him 50%. Okay. So I think it may make sense for you, Timber, or Timber and Wiswick together, perhaps, to go and escort Robert and our things out, and Caleb especially, because Robert's not going to be able to move Caleb. I think based on how much head chopping we know he does
That's correct.
alone.
It's not his fault.
It's not a judge. Sure.
Just lay there.
So-
Just lay there. So
So Timber and Wiswick go.
yes.
Get Robert
But
and Caleb, get out of the city, meet us down
Where are
river.
you guys gonna go?
We need to keep heading. Well, we're made, as they would say in the novels. So we.
Wait, you're just gonna head down the river? I mean, it goes into town,
No,
does it not?
Yes, it goes through the town, but I'm hoping that we can outpace the. Hey, Wiswick, can you swim?
Yeah.
All right, that's good. I wanted to make sure. I don't think it had ever come up, except for that one time we swam. No, you totally swam. Yeah.
but I think Vizik needs to stay with
Can you swim with all that armor on?
I'll have you know that I got rid of my chainmail. Thank you very much. But yes,
I think Vizik needs to stay with you to be your guide. Vizik, can you make people invisible still?
I got a spell slot or two left over, sure.
boy, I wish I understood what spell slots were.
Here's an idea. They're running rampant right now, looking for us.
I'm still rowing, Sean.
Either looking for us, or sending people out throughout the city to look for us. Which means that the Ember Thistle is probably not well guarded. If I run in there, I
Yes.
can look quickly for Scarlet's brother. You know, just like eyeing Cal. Get her stuff. And from there I can find out what they're doing, what their plan is, meet you guys, and meet Robert. Now, where are we escaping the city?
So, which way does this river head, Sean?
You're
You're
muted,
muted.
Sean?
Thank you. I really need to put a sticky note on my. So you would know from entering the city that the river runs south. So when you get out, most likely, based on where you presume the gap is in relation, that it will. Do you remember that bridge that you guys crossed? You'll
Yep.
essentially be passing underneath that and heading south. Pretty much, the river heads back to Driftmarch.
Yeah.
So once you're, like this being the map, I'll send a picture of it to you guys just so you have it. You'll be passing right between one of the outersteads and the city proper. You'll probably be deposited right outside the gap in some space, and then you'll flow under the bridge and then go down beyond. Yeah.
So they're probably predicting that we're going to go south. However, we do need to go. I've gotten some intel when I left earlier. Well, I'll tell you guys later. That they are keeping some prisoners up north.
Rowing against the current's going to be hard. It's going to slow us down. So,
Correct. So at some point you guys should get off and find a means of disguise.
all right.
Just
if
to
we go
clarify,
towards the
Sean,
hill,
the river runs on the west side of the.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the river runs on the west side of Oranshire. Well, realistically, so two of the outersteads are on the west side, but the proper Tempest
Right.
Hold is on the east side of the river.
if we keep in the ship, we're going to run into opposition. There's other problems before we get out of this part of the town. They might take attacks at us, and if I'm concentrating on keeping Timber invisible, that might ruin our plan if they can stop me. So I think that it would probably be better if we break off once we exit the river and make a run for the hills or further upstream, like without the boat?
It's not a bad idea. I just think that
So-
outpacing them right now is the best way to get. What do we think of this? I like that this tunnel's this long. What do we think of this?
It really is.
Okay. We go down.
Cal's like,
We use the current. Yeah, we use the current. Move quickly, maybe 2 miles downstream. We get out. We keep the boat. We just toss the boat downstream further, so maybe it throws off their trail. Right. We hide a little bit. Hopefully, maybe get Scarlet up and walking. And then we loop back up and meet Timber and Robert and Caleb on the opposite side of the bank. On the opposite side of on the other bank. Back up towards. I think going towards the city is just as bad. But I don't want to. We don't have a map exactly of this area, right? Like we don't have a map on us.
yeah, you
Cal,
don't have a map, but you would know. I mean, you would. All you could think is like, there's only like, the only bridges that you know of that go across the river are on the south. Are the ones on the around actual Oranshire. So
Right.
the one in the northeastern part and the one in the southwestern part.
So my point is, you could take the bridge across the bank, or across the other bank, and then head down south to meet us. If we can do this fast enough.
On the
So-
east or west side of the river.
On the west side of the. The west side of the river.
Okay. I think
Wait, hang on.
Wait,
We need to go north.
right.
The river curves up and around, impinging our progress to the north. No, so we still need it off the west bank because it curves up and
Yeah,
around.
the west. Yeah,
The west bank is where we need to go. So you get to the west bridge. Timber, with Robert and all of our things. We'll meet you on the road there. We'll start heading north, but stop before we actually get to the outskirts of the city.
that sounds good. I need to leave now. Wizik.
Poof.
Okay, you are invisible for 1 hour. What would you
And
like to do?
Sean, you said that just maybe
Yep.
I hope I'm right. there's like walkways on the side, right? Okay, I would like to get over there and go right back to where we came.
Yeah, you could definitely do that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's walkways on the left and right side. They're very narrow, but you can definitely.
Okay.
You're a monk. You can
As he's
stay.
leaving, Huron reaches out, gives him a little tap, and says, Ilivanya, bless you. Safety in the twilight.
Oh, I
And give
didn't
him a
know
little guidance.
you touched my butt. Okay, thank you.
You know what I was touching.
With the amount you guys have been talking, the guidance will definitely fade before he gets back to the
Yeah,
episode.
well-
But flavor is great.
Yes.
So Timber, you start to head back. You all hear. At first, you hear him sloshing and getting the boat rocks. You hear him getting up there, and then he's gone. Like his footsteps disappear, and he's just disappears entirely with the invisibility. You don't hear him at all. Timber, you start to head back towards the Amber Thistle. The rest of you, the tunnels start to kind of curve here and there, where there are twists and turns. You do reach a point where you do find there is a grate blocking your path, and you can see lights on the other side of the grate.
What
Before
kind of
we-
lights?
Torch lights, like very dim torch lights, like torches that have been burning for a while and are probably going out soon.
Before we do anything, Scarlett's just kind of like talking to herself and just saying like, "He's gonna find him. He's gonna find him."
Huron by his side, trying to like, it's gonna be okay, Scarlet. Don't worry.
I guess I'm
Get out of
throwing
here.
a bone.
And we'll find your brother. No,
Wiswick finishes his note and stuffs it in the sock.
Okay, Huron, if you wanted to make you said it earlier, if you want to make a medicine check for Scarlet's broken leg,
Yeah.
you can go ahead.
It says something along the lines of, take Caleb, parentheses, the scary one, and,
Get the
and
shit. Get it on the cart.
Yeah, get Jordan.
Get on the
horses.
cart. Get ready to leave. Meet us near the river.
25.
25. Okay. So you're an experienced healer. You know, back home your temple did a lot of healing for those injured in the valley, the Adra River Valley, the Adranari Valley. You know that broken bones are notoriously risky to heal without properly setting them. It's why often people will be in the heat of battle and they'll heal someone and their bones will heal improperly, just like a bone that naturally heals improperly and causes long-term disability. So in order for it to not have long-term negative side effects, you need to make sure the bone is properly set, and then use the healing spell concentrated on the area to heal the bone itself. But if it's improperly set, it can have long-term, pain symptoms and essentially what could be considered like osteoarthritis in the
You'll know when a storm's coming. Let's just say that.
Yeah, pretty much like Geralt of Rivia.
All right, that's your one Witcher reference.
My one Witcher reference. Yay.
Still waiting on the two
All right.
Lord of the Rings ones today.
the one official one and the one I sneak in not very stealthily. Okay, so the note is deposited in. If you could only see what Robert's up to, just like
Shit! Oh crap!
just like every now being like like shaking the sock, like he said something would come out of it, and then occasionally like reaching his hand in the sock. And tickling Wiswick's toes. No. No. So he would have actually seen Wiswick's like hand come out of the sock and drop the note. So Robert, as long as nothing went wrong there, Robert has the note and is likely getting ready to go. Timber, you reach the chamber that you fled from. It is currently empty, save for two guards who are at that upward ascending staircase that led to the hall outside of Scarlet's prison chamber.
I attempt to sneak by them.
Okay, go ahead and give me that advantage stealth check with your invisibility.
Wow, I rolled 2 15s, so that is a 22.
22.
How's that pass without a trace looking?
Not likely right now.
So Timber, you are actually they're actively on guard. This is going to be a perception check from them. Okay. You kind of like walk up, and like the only way through is like between them, and you kind of just like carefully just sort of like Mission Impossible through the lasers through them, and then
No. Jennifer Lopez event lasers. Was it Jalen? No, which one was it? Okay. Keep going.
But like Timber, you even like see like at one point like your breath, you release some breath and it like brushes the hair, and you see them like slap their neck, but they don't see you as you do get past them, and you start to ascend, and you can see they've relit the torch in the room where Wiswick burnt it out. You can hear a lot of commotion above, a lot of people walking around. You hear someone talking in the chamber where Scarlet was being held, but you can't quite make out who it is. So you're in that little antechamber area where Wiswick took that chest, and there's stairs ascending that would lead up to the next room.
Timber.
I think you were talking about
Catherine
Mila
Zeta-Jones.
Jovovich.
It's Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Oh,
It's
Zeta
Catherine
Jones.
Zeta-Jones and
I
Entrapment.
was gonna say there's like 18 different references that you could have made there. There's a lot of lasers in movies.
Timber's gonna go to the person that is talking, or try to eavesdrop.
Okay, give me a perception check.
18.
18. Okay. So you can hear that it is, I'd say with an 18, you can hear they're not particularly being like stealthily quiet. You can actually hear Thatcher talking to someone else. You're not quite certain it's Thatcher because you actually haven't heard his voice, but sort of the way he's barking orders makes you think that it is Thatcher. And you can hear there's a few other people in there. You hear some of them sort of the gist. You don't catch every word, but the gist you get is like you hear some of them saying like, uh, "Is it worth it, sir, to chase after a couple of random vagabonds and some pit fighter? Yeah, you, who is this girl?" And you hear Thatcher's response is deeply angry as you hear him shouting back at them. What you get the gist of it is sort of it's not your job to know who they are or why I want them. It's your job to find them. You hear some more rustling. The gist of the rest of it is I want everyone on watch throughout the city, every corner, talk to every urchin, talk to every beggar, talk to every shopkeeper that is out. Anyone outside must be questioned. And keep an eye on the river. Get our people on the river, essentially.
Timber's gonna take a deep gulp of spit and ascend the stairs back up to the main area and just walking by, basically.
Okay.
From this point on, he's going to be trying to find where Scarlet's stuff might be.
Okay. So when you get to the point where Kieran had busted down the door, you can see into the room where you can see Thatcher and at least one of these lieutenants, so to speak, who hasn't left just yet. And you see him just sort of examining the broken locks on the cage itself. You can see a blood trail where they've dragged Warden Borg's body away. You can kind of see there's just the light from above coming through where the shattered pit is, as you can just see one kind of brute just sort of standing there, kind of looking around nervously as he watches his leader searching this room. Past them, there's another door that's open. And then behind you, there is another passageway that kind of curves around and goes down a longer hallway.
To avoid people, I'd probably take that passageway just to scout around.
Okay.
Ladder, yeah.
All right. So as you give me a perception or investigation check.
Perception. Oh no, I dropped my dice. Roll again. Ooh, hello. It's a 22.
22. Okay. So what you find in the end of this hallway is that it opens up to another open door, where you can see a trap door in the middle of the room that is open, and you can see someone climbing out of it. And you can see there are several bodies in this room. So you immediately notice the body of the drunk who struggled in the needle and thread. You see Warden Bjorg and his 4 plated guards. Sort of, they're all on tables throughout the room. As the person ascending looks to be one of those snatchers that you saw in the needle and thread sifting through the bodies. This appears to be, from what you can guess, is where that trap door leads that you did see them bringing the drunk's body into, or that you saw them throw the drunk's body down a trap door, and you presume it led to another part of this underground web of tunnels that led to this chamber.
Okay.
And you can see there's also like there are several piles of belongings on tables, so they don't like just cart people's belongings out of that warehouse into the Amber Thistle. They bring them and smuggle them underground so that to keep the illusion of the main blighted row.
Can I just take a quick glance at the table of goods, of loot from bodies, and see if anything looks slightly familiar to Scarlet's or things of interest?
You can give me a perception check or a investigation check. If you want to go in and get closer, investigation. If you want to, from your current position, perception.
Better perception. I guess I'll go perception. It's a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Okay. So I mean, there are bags all over the place. You see spilled out coin purses, all manner of just sort of like loose things that were on these people. You know, you see some, silver lockets, some rings. You see a pile of boots with like silver buckles and whatnot. You see several bags. I'd say with a dirty 20, you do notice Scarlet's bag. Is in the back corner of the room. Sort of, it's got a few other things on top of it because they've taken some things since this was put in this room from other people. But you recognize Scarlet's bag for sure. You've traveled with her this long.
How big is it?
Scarlet's bag. I mean, it's it's not massive. But it's.
I forgot something very essential I was supposed to do.
What's that?
Ask Kieran for the bag of holding.
Bag of holding.
That's probably a good idea.
Can't go back, can I?
You could.
Can't load the quick
no,
save. Damn it.
Scum's cave. Scum cave.
Okay, so I'm gonna pick up Scarlet's bag.
Okay.
Or try to sneak over to it and stealthily grab it. And now, how does it work if I pick up something after I'm invisible already?
Well, it's considered on your belonging, so it becomes invisible like your other armor and whatnot. But there's that like split second of it potentially being like disappearing before the person's eyes. And also like sort of the way some of the other stuff might fall, because that stuff's not going to become invisible. Right. So there's some risk to it still, but there's no risk of you like walking around, be like a floating backpack walking around.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was worried
about. Every drop
of
sweat that leaves Timber's brow becomes visible the moment it leaves contact.
That's true. Luckily, he's a dog, so he doesn't
sweat. Oh, sheesh! Didn't even think of that.
Although his panting might become quite loud.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a sleight of hand.
Well, it's a stealth and then a sleight of hand, because there is a person in the room now who is kind of milling about. You see him kind of starting to do essentially what they did in the Needle and Thread, but with the warden and his guards. They're kind of examining the goods on them.
All right. Yeah, I'll do both of those things. Start with the stealth. I got advantage on this, right? Please tell me I get advantage.
Yes, because you're invisible.
Okay, it's a bit better. It's a dirty 20 again.
Dirty 20?
Yep.
All right. You observe with your skilled insights. You observe this individual moving about the room. They have like a long coat on, these goggles that are on their forehead. You presume goggles of the night. Their hair, their skin's very dirty from kind of doing the dirty work of the needle and thread and moving through the tunnel. And you can see them just sort of as you see him like picking up a guard's arm and like unstrapping the plate and taking it and tossing it in the corner. You use those opportune moments to sneak around and get into the corner. And as he kind of like turns and throws a bit of armor off to the side, that's when you snatch it to cover that sound of the I mean, I didn't even have you do the. Let's do that sleight of hand check real quick.
15?
Okay, I'd say that is good with your stealth roll as well. That you are able to wait for the right moment, take the bag. So the stuff kind of collapses down a little bit, but he doesn't notice as the armor's clamoring into a pile. So you have Scarlet's bag, and it does as soon as it's sort of in your grasp. It goes invisible with you.
Great. And there's no other items of interest other than just some little bags of gold.
Yeah, it's really not like Scarlet's bag would be the thing that could potentially hold the most interesting things here, because it's mostly the bags, the coin purses of drunks. There might be some and some of the bags might have some like personal belongings. But there's not like a huge gleaming sword sitting in the middle of it or anything like that.
No hair combs for me. I'm gonna leave.
Okay. All right. I'll say you can use that same stealth check to get out of that room and start returning back. Is there anything else you'd like to do, or are you just trying to go straight back to the canals?
I am not yet. Tim wants to do a one round over of just the place itself, because Bogdasha said that there's 2 items that he should take from Thatcher's grasp.
Oh, there's also, I forgot to say, in the hallway that you passed, that got you here, there is actually another set of stairs that goes up, which is the stairs that Kieran had descended from in the previous session. So you did see at least one more passage that goes upwards. Okay. So did you want to try to investigate the top floors, or are you trying to look more down here?
Yeah, no, he would go from the top floors. He thinks he has enough time.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, I mean, you probably have I'd say you move pretty quickly and directly, and you're a monk, so you move very quickly. I'd say you still have 45 minutes on this invisibility.
Okay.
I'm going to stop back with the rest of the party at this point.
Good idea.
So you all see these sort of rusted wrought iron gates in front of you, and there's a big wall, and you can see some torch sconces on the other side, or you can see the light coming off of some torch sconces.
I'm gonna let us kind of drift into this thing, and I'm gonna look. Well, first, if the boat touches it and it opens up, I'm just gonna keep going.
When the boat touches it, it does look quite brittle. Like as it touches it, it kind of like it squeaks a little, and it looks quite rusted. Like it's been, this is a smuggling tunnel. They haven't really been maintaining the wrought iron grates. It does seem to have like a chain on it though, where the gate itself is quite old and rusted. There is what looks to be a fairly new chain wrapped around with a lock on it.
Are there little sidey boys that I could stand on outside of the boat?
Yeah, you can see at this point, like at the wall where this little archway is, there you see these steps that descend into the water that go up to the left and right side.
Kieran's gonna look out through the grates and make sure there's no one out there.
Give me a perception check.
While he does that, I'd like to look at what kind of hinges there are on this thing.
Dirty 20.
Brass.
Dirty 20, nice.
Well,
for you.
Two.
Well,
that's still good. You can see and kind of listen in, and the torches are kind of like you can see them flickering. You see deeper down, there's another gate in there, probably about let's say about 120 feet or so from where you are currently, because you've got super long dark vision, right? Infinite dark vision.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can dimly see the shape of another gate. It's still quite dark though, despite the main reason you can see it pretty well is there's more torchlight coming from behind it in a narrower hallway or a narrower canal. And you got a dirty 20, right? Okay.
Aye, Captain.
Yeah, so I'd say the only thing else you notice is that just beyond the gates that you're currently at, and you and Wiswick and Scarlet, if she was kind of not in a somewhat delirious state, would be the only ones who could really notice this. There is something like hanging right, like about 5 feet past this gate you're currently at. It's because it's kind of like a little tunnel that goes in and then
Right.
opens up into a larger space. And you can see this thing. You can see kind of like a chain, and it's just sort of like twisting like this. You just see this like mass of some material that you can't quite make out, and like a board that's sort of been like attached to it.
I think Wiswick was probably like hiding inside of the boat to the best of his ability, just like staying really low, keeping himself hidden. And when he looks up and sees that thing, I think the first instinct would just be to, like, while we're still at a distance from the actual location, to just shoot a chill touch at it.
Okay. So it fails the save as an inanimate object, or it's a. Is that an attack roll? It doesn't matter. It's gonna like hit it. It's just a matter of.
It's a cantrip. I'm gonna make it, instead of necrotic damage, to do cold damage.
Okay. So you watch as some frost clings to this thing, and it kind of like the spectral hand kind of grasps it, and you can see the frozen energy surging through it, and you can hear the ice crystals formulating all around it, and a mist of just fog around it afterwards, and nothing really happens to it. It just sort of moves a little bit and stays hanging there.
Can I get a result on that?
Oh, give me an investigation check. Actually, give me a history check for your knowledge of hinges.
Well, it's an 18, so.
Okay.
Quick, Google.
No, I already Googled it because I know what he's looking for right now. I just lost it for a second.
Maybe like half pin barrel.
They are half pin barrel hinges.
Excellent. I take one of the oars and I wedge it in the bottom against the stair-looking things, and I leverage them out.
Leverage.
Proper amount of leverage.
Leverage. Yeah. The it's very loud as the
Win some, you lose some.
you know the
They know where we are. It's a one-way tunnel. I don't.
Yeah. But
It's about speed.
The right one comes off and comes out of its hinges, and it kind of collapses towards you. Pull it aside. It sort of just hangs from the chain off of the other one, opening up enough space for you to squeeze the boat through if you would like.
I would like, yes.
Okay. It takes a little bit of maneuvering. I'd say once you get in there, though, you can kind of see this object hanging there. And it's pretty innocuous at first. It's really just sort of from like a hooked chain. This just like amalgam of like boiled leathers that's just been like attached and latched to the hook, and then like a wooden plaque has been nailed to it or attached to it in some way, and you can see there are symbols all across it that none of you except maybe the delirious one could really read. Some sort of cant of thieves.
I keep rowing.
Okay. You start to get into the next room, and you can see it opens up immediately. You can see at the end of this kind of like 10-foot tunnel, there are torches on your left and right side that are actually just like right there. They're very lowly lit, cascading a very, very dim red light throughout the
Are they
chamber.
guttering, perhaps?
Yes, I'll say yes, they are. You can hear kind of that, like, that. What I'm assuming that is referring to is that sound when they're slowly going out. And would you like to just continue proceeding?
Yeah,
Okay.
like I said, it's about speed here.
Okay.
Specifically so I can ignore all of the things you spent a lot of time world building.
In
Yes.
your sewer.
In my sewer. Okay. So as you continue rowing, you get about halfway through when you feel the bottom of the boat just sort of lift a little as something has hit the boat a little.
Can I look into the water?
Yeah, give me a perception check.
Let's find the right dice. Shut the front door, Alex.
Trying to.
All right, 21.
Looks black as night, even with your dark vision, and cloudy with the refuse of the city.
How about
I have a
summon
bad
Jet?
feeling about this.
I summon Jet and try to see what's in there using blind vision.
Okay, give me a perception check from Jet.
The science of this. Blind vision is echolocation.
Yeah.
And water just
Has a surface.
Yep. But he can still do it.
I mean, sound goes through water, right?
Just moves slower.
That's
Much slower.
And you'll get the reverberations as it hits the
surface. Yeah, you need to be
Yeah.
under it. You could throw Jet under the water. That might work.
That's true.
Just like toss him.
There are
down.
many semi-aquatic bats in nature. Is Jet one of them?
Also,
He's also
dolphins
fiendish in the,
use echolocation. Remember that?
under the water.
Right, but they start under the water.
He can definitely use it under the water, but it is gonna
Toss
be
him
less
under.
effective.
Yeah, I dunk him under and I roll a 15.
Just hold his head down.
What do you hear?
But then, like 2 seconds later, he's just sort of like, I gotta listen to what he's telling me to do.
Look, Jet knows the deal. There's lots of underground lakes in the Underdark that I probably pulled this off with.
That's true. You've definitely probably dunked him several times in the past for much less serious things. Okay, what was the perception check?
15.
15. Okay. And are you just like holding him, or did you throw him down under?
Nah, I give him a little like baby dip.
So you're just kind of like, dip.
Yeah, I'm
And
like
you're still-
1, 2, 3.
I see what you mean. Okay. Okay. What's Jet's AC?
Oh,
Oh
Again,
no.
this poor bastard.
It's not high. I can tell you that much.
Especially that high when he's in the water and can't move.
Damn. Jet's always dying. 12.
Is he gonna
So-
lift him back up and all of the part of Jet that was in the water is just gone?
No, if Jet was a real bat, yes, but he poops out of existence when he dies. So it's why everything that kills him doesn't get the meal they want. But Wiswick, you would just feel something quickly tendrily wrap around Jet and pull, and just he disappears out of existence, and you can feel the sliminess wriggling across your arms as you can see down there this like sleek jet black tentacle that kind of just, you see the surface of it just over the water for a few seconds as you start to see the water kind of rumbling and moving quickly all around you, as you see in front of the boat 2 large black tendrils come out of the water, sleek black, like you can barely see them even with your dark vision. As I will need you all to roll initiative.
God damn it. I bet you that sign said, "There's octopus ahead."
Octopi.
It's
Whatever.
okay. I rolled great on my initiative.
I didn't.
Octopodes?
Octopussies.
Nope.
Octopi.
Octopodes.
Octopodes.
Which I think is the singular possessive.
Cephalods. Something like that. I don't know what the word is.
Cephalopod is what it is, the type of creature it is,
my pod.
I think.
Oh, right.
Cephalotaxis.
20 to 25.
Oh, me!
Does above 25 count?
yeah. 26 to 30.
Thank you. I got a 26.
Okay. Cal, what'd you get?
21.
15 to 19. 10 to 14.
14.
12.
Okay. All right. So these are painted. They're not painted yet, so they're white with their primer. But in your heads, they're pitch black.
Well, they'll be more visible on the battle cam. It was all
That is
planned.
true. That is true.
You also might need to move the camera a little up.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm good. No.
Oh, you might need to move the camera a little bit.
Oh shit!
You also may need to pull focus, friend.
You
Just a
also might need to get rid of that and just let us go on our merry way.
You might also need an Oreo, just for your sanity.
Oh, I wish I had an Oreo.
I wish I had an Oreo too.
All right, so you see
wish
these
I was an
two
Oreo.
very thick tendrils coming out of the water. One of them kind of wrapping around, and the other kind of has little tentacles. They each have little, like, dendrite tentacles kind of coming off of them. They do look quite horrific and like of some kind of nightmare monster. But let me just double check their initiative. Cal or Wiswick, you're up. And then Cal, you're on deck.
Fireball.
I mean, magic missiles is like go to option.
Always true.
Don't lose
Should've-
that concentration.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Maybe I just want to play defensive. I am going to use something that I don't usually use, but hey, I'm going to use my Snurf Neblin. Oh wait, I can't because it's concentration. Damn it. You know what, Mage Armor? Let's go. I'll take that AC.
Okay.
And I use. I mean, I don't know if I can use my movement, but I just duck down back into the. Maybe I'll go prone. I go prone. Use my movement action to go prone in the ship,
All
just
right,
to
so,
keep hidden.
So right now you're in the front of the ship. Do you want to move back a little? Or do you
Oh
want to
yeah,
stay in the
way
front
back.
of the ship?
Send
you
me
are-
back.
You're currently back.
Lay down next to Scarlet.
And
Hey.
Scarlet's kind of like in the back of the boat like this, with no weapons and no armor. And you're just next to her, prone, watching as the mage armor comes around you as these two tentacles writhe ahead of you. As Cal, you are up. Unless Wiswick, you had anything else.
I say to Scarlet,
What are you doing in my hiding spot?
She does not laugh. Anna laughs,
But we do.
but Scarlet does not.
All right, Cal, what would you like to do?
I'm gonna step up to the front of the boat so as to draw some attacks.
Okay.
With my free action, I'm gonna toss a rapier to Scarlet.
Yeah, because you have the.
I have more of them.
That's right, because you had two rapiers, right, before?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm going to whip out prongs of the black, as it were,
Okay.
and attack the one on the left.
All right, go for an attack.
Sean, how does a
It hits.
It hits. It's 25.
25. Yeah, it definitely hits.
Thanks. 6 plus 7 is 13, plus 3 is 16 damage. 3 acid, if that matters.
3 acid damage. That does matter, actually. So you
Yeah,
watch
this-
as the acid starts to burn away at the flesh a little bit, but your actual prongs, as they rip into it, don't deal quite as much, even with it being a magical weapon. So how much was just the prong damage?
13.
13. All right, so it took in that because it was 3 acid damage, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it took 9 damage total.
Okay. 18 to hit
18 does hit.
for 15 regular and 4 acid damage. Rolled max damage on that, both dice.
4 acid damage, and then 15. Okay. All right. So you're watching as you're definitely like creating surface wounds with your blade, and then the acid pours in, starts to burn the flesh away around those wounds. Anything else in your turn?
No.
Okay. It is the tentacle's turn. All right. So the one that you've been attacking, Cal, is going to go for a swipe on you. It's cocked. That is probably not going to hit with an 11.
No.
Okay.
Now is not.
The other one is going to go for Curon,
Nah.
which is a 15 to hit.
Hits.
Okay. All right. So you watch as the tentacle sort of comes up taller and slams down into you and immediately attempts to wrap itself around you as you see those smaller vein-like tentacles around it start to latch onto your skin, almost like leeches. As it deals...
Leech eyes? Leeches?
Lechies. As it deals 9 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
And then 4 points of piercing damage.
Chocolate.
Oh.
As it is going, as I need you to give me a grapple check. So either athletics or acrobatics.
Feel like 13.
13. So you can like feel this bites happening from these individual little tendrils, and the thing is wrapping itself around you, and it is just not quite able to pull you as you kind of push its tendrils off of you, feeling kind of blood coming out of the wounds where the tiny little tendrils were biting into you. And that is the tentacle's turn.
Gross.
The next turn is going to be the body.
What?
As Scarlet, you and Wiswick, you kind of like in the back of the boat looking around as you're just sort of freaking out, and then you hear the water dissipating around you as something comes up from behind. You see a massive maw coming out from behind of this creature, and several of those smaller tentacles. It's not the large one, but it has those smaller tendrils coming out of it, and it is going to attempt to grab at you, Scarlet, with them.
Okay.
It got a natural 1. So you watch as these tendrils, and you can see it's like this massive mouth opens up, and you can see these 2 small, bright, like pinpoints of lights on its. Actually, it's not 2. It's 6, 3 on each side coming up, and they're just these tiny pinpoints of yellow light. As you can see, this dark, slick form as these several tentacles, small tendrils in the outside of its mouth that opens up, reach up to essentially try to pull you into its mouth, but it does not get you, and that is the end of its turn, leading to Scarlet, your turn, and then Curon, you're on deck.
All right. So having seen that, how close is that mouth? Is it like right up on us? Like, could I reach it with the rapier that Cal threw me?
Yeah, you could reach it with the rapier.
Okay. Do I have to make some sort of like catch check to catch the rapier?
No,
Okay.
no.
All right.
It's a free action, bro.
Cool.
It's flavor for his free action. You don't have to do a check.
Cool. All right. I'm going to like flip over onto my stomach and like grab onto the back of the boat and like just thrust it into its mouth.
Okay, give me an attack roll.
Ooh, 14.
14 does not hit.
Damn
Or
it.
it's sort of like it doesn't find purchase as you see the rapier goes, and it goes to try to pierce into the mouth. It closes its mouth, and the outer slick Carapace, it just sort of like skids off of it. You don't even get like the tip into the flesh.
Okay. Well. Yep. No, I'm not gonna do that. Yeah, that's really all I can do.
Okay. Kieran, you're up.
Kieran's gonna turn to Cal and be like, "What do you think is more important, the tentacles or its head?" And then I don't know if Cal can really respond, but he's gonna cast his Twilight Sanctuary,
Yes.
holding aloft his sacred relic of Ilyuvania.
Okay.
Creates that fun little Twilight Sanctuary.
Yep. As you watch the phylactery breaks apart, the wood floating all around, a glittering shard of the moon of Ilyuvania in the center. As you watch dim light emanate all around you, I would say, Kieran, with your passive perception, you would notice that the dim light does start to affect the sleek, dark exterior. It doesn't do anything necessarily, but it looks almost like that exterior is vibrating and reacting to the dim light. But it's not like that's all you can tell.
Okay. Well, then we're going to use a bonus action to cast spiritual weapon at 4th level.
All right.
And we're going to spawn it behind the tentacles because probably easier to go forward. Probably.
So where you're spawning it where again?
Behind the tentacles, specifically like right in between the two, so I can pick and choose which one I want to kill.
Definitely. Oh, I just forgot something.
What did you forget?
Plug in your laptop.
Floor.
How can you
I'm gonna
forget
make
the
a
floor?
roll.
It's
Oh, look
always
at
there.
I rolled a nat 40.
Whoa!
While Sean's plugging things in, I'm gonna go get brownies.
All right, yeah, everyone, let's
Always
just go.
has snacks and stuff. Like the man always has things around. I haven't had a snack in my house in like 7 years.
Because he's a smart man.
Oh no, Clayton is known for always having brownies accessible.
Brownies.
Are they freshly made?
Are they fudgy?
Pretty freshly made. This is
How
literally
fudgy
all I
are
have
they?
left, but
Sorry
It
about
looks like
that.
a piece of seaweed.
I was gonna say it blends in with the
Fog
background.
machine.
Sorry about that. I had forgotten entirely about that. Oh dear.
Is there fog down here?
Yeah, there's a little bit of fog.
I don't remember you describing.
I know, but it's just a little bit of fog. It's not like
It's definitely cinematic.
it's cinematic fog. Like there's a Highland butcher behind those gates, just like with a fog machine. Like, yeah.
This will really set the scene. So that's an 18 to hit.
That'll hit.
Oh, thank Ilyuvania, right? That's her name. That's who we pray to. And at 4th level, it's 2d4, 8, 2d8, 4.
4.
Oh, 14
Nice.
force damage to the one
Alright.
previously injured by Caliph
Excellent.
Stormrain, first of his name.
All right,
Cal
you
rolling
see-
I'm incognito.
Oh,
He technically is still incognito. So you watch as the crescent moon spiritual glaive erupts behind it and just brings and sinks itself into the side of the tentacle that starts to react violently to it, dealing full damage.
bit of course, 'cause that's how we like to do it.
All right, back to the top of the order with Wiswick.
okay.
Or unless there's anything else you want to do, Kira? You
No.
want to jump off the boat?
Yes.
Wiswick's going to go with a poison spray, which he's going to modify as per his usual MO.
Temp HP. Everyone remember temp HP at the end of their turn.
The spray that he's going to attempt to shoot into this creature's maw is radiant, we'll say.
Okay.
I'm guessing
College
since
of Lord,
maybe
game-breaking.
Wiswick noticed the what do you call it, reaction.
Hey, what kind of
the
damage is
beast.
this thing weak to? I could start throwing stuff.
Um, yeah, go ahead and roll to attack.
Well, I did pretty well on my rolls. How about that Constitution? Actually, let's make it. Yeah, Constitution saving throw is fine.
Oh yeah. Sorry, it is a saving throw. Con saving throw. Okay.
DC 15.
Okay. It got a dirty 20.
Damn. All right. Well, that wouldn't have helped even if I changed the save. So I did 12 plus 9 is a lot.
21.
20,
21.
21 halved is 10.
All right. You watch as the radiant spray that erupts over it immediately starts to eat away at its flesh, as it does seem to be taking more damage from that radiant magic. Remind me, which one did you attack, left or right?
Neither. I attacked the maw.
Oh, the maw. Sorry. All right. So you watch as it kind of sprays across it. You can see some openings where that black ichor that's on its flesh seems to pull away at the radiant damage, and as it fizzles away, comes back together.
Ooh. Picked the wrong cantrip.
All right. Yeah, it seems to almost have retracted from the light of the radiance, and then reconstituted upon the radiance dissipating. As the creature roars in pain and in deep pain, you watch the tentacles writhe as it writhes as well, leading anything else, Quizwick?
I think I just yell out to the rest of them.
It's weak to the light.
To the light.
Then Cal, you were up.
Use the light, Calith.
I take out my moon sword
Oh, that's
that
right.
hasn't
Forgot
been
you have
spoken
that.
of since episode 17 or so,
Earlier.
and I attack with it.
Okay. So, reminds me, the Moonblade.
Moon-touched sword,
Yes, the moon
comma
touched.
longsword,
Yes.
is what it is.
I meant what kind of light does it shed? Because that's its
Moon.
main feature. No, I
Light.
meant like dim or bright.
Bright light.
Okay. All right. And how far is the bright light?
15 feet of radii.
All right. So you watch as Cal pulls out this moon-touched longsword, which you haven't seen in forever. It stays in its scabbard all the
One
time.
of the many sheaths at my belt.
Yeah. As you're all like, oh yeah, that's right. As it gives off this radiant lunar light, and it is bright, and you watch these tentacles as you can see the slick black flesh is now kind of retracting and dissipating, as you can see just sort of a splotchy green tentacle underneath, as something has happened. And go ahead for an attack.
That's the wrong dice to roll. That's a 23.
23. Okay. That definitely hits.
12 damage.
12 damage. You watch as it takes your blade sinks into the flesh, taking full damage, as it does no longer have the resistance to weapon attacks. All right, this one's looking a little rough. Like the acid had
I say a cool one-liner like, looks like Il Yvonne's with us today, friends.
Oh.
Get it? Moonlight. Because she does that whole thing. I'm on board. Also, temp HP, Steph.
Oh yeah, Wizzy, you got 8 temp HP, and Callie, you got 2
Callie's
temp
not gonna
HP.
get that.
I'm not going to take that
Callie.
8 temp HP. Just
How much
because
temp?
too late.
2? Take 2?
Yeah,
Nice.
you don't have to
Okay.
take it, Wizwick. It's, you know what?
It's the principle of the thing.
What principle?
So it's the tentacles' turn.
What tentacles?
As the left one is going to go for Cal
Who?
with a 19 to hit.
Fuck. Yeah, that hits.
Okay. All right. That is 7 points of bludgeoning damage. and 4 points of piercing damage as it is going to attempt to grapple you. So please give me an acrobatics or athletics check.
Don't do it. It's a trap.
As those tendrils are digging their teeth into you.
17.
17. That successfully wards off its grapple. All right, so you are not grappled. You fling off the tentacles. You can feel those teeth of the leech-like tendrils ripping out of your skin. I mean, you can see them properly now since the black ichor is retreated, and you can just see this writhing tentacle with these tendrils coming off with these sharp, razor-sharp leech mouths on them. Okay, the next one is going to go for Kiron.
No.
And that's going to be a 16 to hit.
It's
Okay, so that is 4 points of bludgeoning and 5 points of piercing. And I need you to give me a grapple check again.
13.
13, that is just enough to prevent yourself from being grappled by it.
You can grapple me if you want. It's cool.
I'll change the DC now. It's 14 now.
Oh no!
No, you're able to keep it from gaining purchase. You know, it's trying to slither through your armor to get your flesh, and you just bring your glaive up to block it from fully grasping you. Now it is the head's turn, and it is gonna go. It is gonna go for Wiswick this time.
Okay.
That is 15.
No good.
All right. So similarly, it tries to grasp at you with these tendrils and can't quite find that purchase. But you do notice coming up from the side of the boat is another tentacle comes up out of the water. That I forgot to do at the top of its turn. But it doesn't have a turn this round. It goes with the other tendrils. All right, that is the creature's turn. And the who's next? Scarlet, you're next.
All right. So hearing Wiswick having said the light hurts it and having missed with the rapier, she's still like holding onto the side of the boat. She's gonna just like throw the rapier down in the boat, not in the water, in the boat. And she's gonna launch a produce flame at it right into its mouth.
She stabbed a hole in the boat.
Yeah, we got a loose rapier in the boat.
Everyone watch your feet.
No scabbers.
Natural 20.
All right.
Woo!
Go ahead and roll
Fire
damage.
is my element.
You do get sneak attack.
Oh fuck yeah!
Yeah, you didn't lose all your features just because you don't have your daggers.
All right.
Oh wait, sorry. This is a spell attack. You may have wanted to attack with the rapier actually, but the fire will still damage.
Can I have it anyway?
No, that's not how a sneak attack works.
Damn it. 9 points of fire damage.
That's with the doubling for
Nope.
nat 20.
18 points of fire
18
damage.
points. Nice. All right. You watch as the light, the fire ripples across its. Now you can see, because the 15 feet does reach this creature. You can see its like pocked green flesh beneath that, what was once that black ichor that is now kind of retreated and is kind of gathering at the back of the creature where it still is out of that light. But the fire licks across, and you can see singe marks across its gums and fangs and the entire mouth that's opened up. Anything else, Scarlet?
Nope.
All right. Kiron, you're up.
Scarlet, you get 1 temp HP. Don't ask for any more. That's all you get.
It's not like I need any more. It's fine.
Kieran's gonna have the spirit glaive attack the wounded doohickey for a 23 to hit.
That hits.
12 points of force damage to it.
Okay, it's looking pretty rough at this
And
point.
then we'll have it perform a dex saving throw as Kieran casts Sacred Flame at it. DC 15
It fails.
for 11 radiant damage.
You watch as this ichor has retreated from the creature, and the radiant damage starts to burn from where its wounds have been opened up from Cal's sword and your glaive. And you see from the inside out, it just starts to burn all up the tendril with that radiant attack. You actually watch, it's kind of disturbing as it's burning up. The tendrils that stick off of it, the leech-like tendrils, they actually like burn and like fall off into the water. And then you kind of peek into the water as the light, and you can see the water is filled with those little tendrils that are swimming all around in the water.
It's the goddamn gold. That's who it is.
Don't go in the water.
I was thinking more of a star spawn or perhaps some sort of Golgothra, but this is just all Wiswick inner monologue.
All right. Anything else, Kieran?
Nay, that will end my turn, giving me
Okay.
8 temp page.
Okay.
You get all the temp HP, and the rest of us
Yeah,
get
I gotta
one
save
or
the good
two.
rolls for me. Okay.
All right. Back to the top of the order with Wiswick. Cal, you're on deck.
Okay, more stuff. Let's go with the chill touch this time. Except we're gonna make it radiant damage, because why not? Except
Why not?
it's gonna be
Okay.
a friendly. It's gonna come in the form of a friendly high five, a gentle, holy high five to the maw of this creature.
Okay. That's a saving throw again.
No, it isn't.
Oh no,
It
that's the
is
attack roll.
a spell attack. Yeah. So let's give that a try. Beautiful. 17 plus 7.
Oh, that'll definitely hit.
24.
And we shall
17
roll
plus 7,
Zugama.
Shannon.
Double sevens. That's like 3 sevens in a row almost.
Okay, and that'll deal double damage.
14.
So 14 up to 28 points of damage.
Oh yeah. And no regeneration.
No regeneration.
All right. Anything else, Wiswick? As you watch, kind of like the way this thing's head is shaped, it's got this maw, and then it has like the 6 dots of the eyes, and you just see this holy hand come up and just slap it right on the what you presume is its forehead.
Hey, that's my move.
As soon as it makes contact, the radiant energy bursts across the flesh, and you can see this thing's head is covered in burn marks and scorch marks now. Cal, you are up.
4 temp to whiz.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I'll take those.
So that. Never mind. I know what's happening. I'm gonna attack the thing that's wounded.
Which one?
Which
The one in front of us. Yeah, I'm trying to.
Okay.
I'm trying to get it so we can start moving again.
Okay. So go ahead and give me an attack roll.
16.
16. That hits.
Excellent.
By the way, the eyeball stalks confirmed Wiswick's suspicions on what monster this was.
13 damage.
What is it?
It's called an Otyog, I think, is how it's pronounced. It's very confusing.
All right. You deal 13 points of damage as the prongs of the black rip into this other tentacle.
No, I'm using the moon sword.
Moonsword, thank you. As the moonsword slices into it, you see several of those tendrils fling off and fall into water and swim away. As you hack a big gaping wound into the side of this tentacle as it writhes around.
Nice.
Cool.
Okay.
I used my bonus action to second wind.
All right. Okay, so it is the tentacle's turn at this point. All right, so the one on the right side of the boat is going to go for Scarlet.
7 temp HP, Cal.
Thanks, bro.
That is a 24 to hit.
Nah.
Scarlet, you're going to take 5 points of bludgeoning damage and 5 points of piercing damage, and I need you to give me an acrobatics or athletics check.
Acrobatics 100%.
With disadvantage because of your
yep.
broken leg.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's still a 23.
Whoa, okay. I thought you were going to be like 10. Okay. All right, so it does not successfully grapple you. You watch as the tentacle in front of you, Cal, slinks back into the water, giving you an attack of opportunity on it.
I'll take it. If it's 24. No,
That-
3.
That'll hit.
It only does 9 damage.
9 damage? Okay.
Radiant damage.
Doesn't deal radiant damage.
No, it doesn't. It's just bright.
It's just a real bright sword. As it is going to come back up out of the water on this side and go for Wiswick
Get out of here.
with a natural 20. Doesn't hit. I'm okay. Okay, so that is going
I
to be...
was going to remind you that I was probably still prone and you had advantage, but I guess
It doesn't matter. I guess it doesn't matter.
Counterspell.
I should have
Counterspell.
done advantage on the other attack too. Everyone gets one per session. So that is going to be 9 points of bludgeoning damage and 15 points of piercing damage. And I'd like you to give me athletics or acrobatics check.
athletics or acrobatics. I don't like those. I did okay. 15 plus 3. 18.
Okay, so you're able to wriggle out of its grasp as it does not successfully grapple you. Okay, the head is gonna go for Scarlet again. For 15 to hit.
If I had my armor, it wouldn't hit.
Okay.
Beggars can't be choosers with broken leg.
Scarlet, I'm gonna need you to give me a strength saving throw.
Sorry, we all risked our lives to come in here and get you.
Disadvantage?
Yes.
That's good. That's a 5.
Okay. You're going to take 7 points of piercing damage as these tendrils latch onto you and drag you into the water.
Oh, fuck.
As the head goes underwater with you, and you feel it bite into your back, which it has advantage on this bite attack against you because it is holding you.
Oh, no.
That doesn't sound good at all.
Guys, I have 10 HP.
It's gonna hit with a 24 for 13 points of piercing damage.
I am down.
As Scarlet disappears under the water with the head.
Ta-ta for now.
By the way, Sean, I passed my concentration spell, so let's save.
Thank you. Timber, you didn't just randomly poop as you're sneaking past Thatcher. Okay. That leads us to Scarlet's turn. Give me a death saving throw.
All
right, that's one success. Kieran, you are up.
Does she get temp HP?
I don't believe so.
No, she doesn't. So, can I move the spiritual weapon under the water to chase the head?
Yes, I'd say it has disadvantage on its attacks because you can't quite see the head perfectly. You can somewhat see it with the light that's breaking the water.
See my
but
red
it's,
hair.
No. Well, maybe. I guess yes. You could maybe see the flashes of the red hair.
So wait. Sorry. First, actually, I should say Scarlet unconscious. Yes.
Yes, she
Yes.
is.
All right. So we're just gonna start with a healing word, first level.
Cool.
Oh wait.
That's
Yeah, no, that's fine. Healing word, first level. Just to give her 5 healing.
So, Scarlet, you wake up from an unconscious state and
wanted
are
to.
immediately in black water as you feel these tendrils biting into you. You feel a maw that is sort of like gripping across the side of your body and biting into you. And you see several tiny little leeches, swarms of tiny little leeches swimming all around you. As you can feel the light of Ilyuvanya within you.
And then
Oh,
Sacred Flame on the Maw. So dex saving throw. Probably a better idea than.
That is a 15.
That's the DC.
Okay, so it just makes it.
Sure about that?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure.
I was like, wait, did I
No.
mess that up?
Yep. And that'll end Kieran's turn.
Okay. Wiswick, you are up, and then Cal's on deck.
I didn't want to do this, but it seems like the right moment. Wiswick is going to burn his my last third level spell slot. Casting a level 3 magic missile, radiant damage. We'll drop a level 1 what's called spell slot in there for good measure. Add the extra damage.
Okay.
So we've got is that 5 or 3 extra darts? Hold on. No, I mean, is it 2 or 3 extra darts? Math, people. It's 2 extra darts, so that's 5 darts total.
Go ahead and roll the damage.
And last week, I was rolling 2d10, and we thought that was kind of insane. And I think I remember us generally using 1d10, so I'm going to use 1d10 this week because it's still broken and it doesn't make a difference. So I'm rolling. I got a 6 and a 2, so that's 7 plus 1 is 8 damage per missile, and there's 5 missiles, and they all do radiant damage.
Okay.
Nice.
How do you want to kill this thing?
As per my usual magic missiles with radiant damages, they come as 5 orbs of light that are surrounding in a circular fashion, and they the orbs of light turn into little swords, like daggers, and the blades of the daggers shoot forward like beams and pierce into this thing in crisscrossy manner, a magician who stabs into a box.
Love it.
Very cool.
Love it.
So what you all see as you're kind of all immediately in a panic is Scarlet's been dragged under the water by this thing's maw, and it is clearly trying to eat her. You watch Wiswick sort of look back quickly and then raise up his hand and see these orbs come out and spin around him. And then they all sort of very quickly hover over the water. Scarlet, you're under the water, trying to hold your breath, but also trying to keep from screaming in pain as you feel this creature is starting to, the leech-like tendrils are starting to suck blood from you as the mouth is chewing on you. But you see these lights up above lighting up the water, silhouetting these swarms of leeches all around you, as then you see it just sort of... And these swords pierce through the water, these radiant swords. You see the water kind of steaming around them as they pierce through this creature, kind of like all around you, as you just sort of see them, this like black blood leaking out into the water as this creature lets go of you, and you can sort of feel the vibrations of its roar under the water as you start to, you're latched free as the creature starts to sink to the bottom, and you can see now kind of with the light of the swords, like its like body like makes up the like much of the basin of this canal. It's just sort of formless mass of flesh. As you can see the pillars of the tentacles, and you can see the swords erupt this radiant flame within that bursts through the whole body and up through the tentacles from the inside and burns them all from the inside out. As above the water, you see the tentacles starting to slowly turn to cinders and ash as their skeletal forms sink beneath the water.
Very
As
cool.
you have killed this creature.
Very cool.
Woo!
I'm gonna try and doggy paddle up because I can't use my
Okay.
legs.
Kieran's going to. I mean, one sec. Is spiritual weapon incorporeal?
Al reaches down and helps
Yeah.
Scarlet come up.
Well, I was gonna have like spirit weapon go under so that she could grab it and then pull it up because she's probably
It
pretty
goes
far
through stuff.
under. That's what I thought.
Just don't stab me with it.
I'm gonna offer a hand, as it were.
Wiswick's just like got his hand still up in the air after casting the spell, like
Did
with
anybody
like
see
little. It shit's steaming, and he's like,
Okay, that's it for me, guys. I got nothing else. I'm spent.
Then
Quite impressive as always, Wiswick.
So, Scarlet, you do swim up as fast as you can. These little creatures are latching onto you the entire way up. You do take 3 points of piercing damage as you're ascending.
Jesus Christ.
As it's literally a swarm of these creatures that are all latching and attacking you.
All right,
And
well,
anyone who
you've got
starts to
like
turn in the
10
water
HP.
takes some damage. So, but you get up. Kieran's back there, helps you out of the water. You kind of like quickly you use whatever you can, fists, weapons, whatever, to rip the leeches off of you, Scarlet,
Yep,
as you
and-
are
Oh,
safely onto the boat now, as the creature is dead.
I would like to pass out. I know I have 2 HP left, but I think she would pass out at this point. Just for flavor.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll allow a self-inflicted unconscious state. As Scarlet, you take a few deep breaths, but just sort of slowly go in and out from, I'll say, kind of like collective pain and blood loss as your eyes go dark and you all see Scarlet's gone unconscious. Not dying, but unconscious. As the water is still all around you.
I'm gonna keep rowing.
Kieran will join Cal, and as he sits down, he'll be like, "Well, that should make keeping the secret a little easier for the time being."
We're gonna have to tell her eventually, and I think eventually is gonna be pretty soon, to be honest.
But how are we going to break it to her?
I'll do it.
No,
Why not?
you, my friend, I wouldn't. You don't have the softest touch.
Hey, I mean, all I gotta do is go up to her and say, like, "Hey, Scarlet, sorry, but your brother's gone."
Yeah, see, that's not. We'll see. Let's figure it out. Let's just keep. We need to survive the next hour first. I think that's critical.
Yeah. So as you push forward, Cal, you similarly use the oar to unhinge the gate that's on the opposite side. As you can see, these guttering torches in there as well. The canal narrows at this point. There's probably only about 2 feet on either side of the boat. As you, at this point, kind of need to like push the boat with the oars because there's not enough room to row in the water, slowing you down just a little bit. But you guys are quite strong. As you continue moving your way through the dark, perhaps a bit more alert now that there may be other dangers besides the syndicate in these waters. And we are going to cut to a quick 5-minute break to go use the restroom, so you guys can watch our fun waiting room video. And when we come back, we are going to check in with Timber, who thankfully did not. Timber,
Who is that?
Thankfully did not puff back out of invisibility during that fight.
That's impressive.
Such as Wiswick.
It's a good thing he used that mage armor.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna take a quick 5-minute break. Please stick around with us. Go grab a snack, go use the bathroom yourself, and we will be back in just a minute.
Okay.
All right, folks, welcome back to. Oh, I thought you were giving me the stop sign, Alex.
Oh yeah, no, it's
Well, because you went like this. All right, welcome back to Advantage in Paradise, folks. Thanks for sticking around from the break. We are about to check in with Timber as our party pushes their boat through the second half of the sewer to attempt to get out from under the Amber Thistle. Timber, you are about to ascend the steps to the first above ground floor of the Amber Thistle, correct?
correct.
Okay. Could you give me a stealth check, please?
I can give you a stealth check. I
Don't
have
do it.
advantage.
I see a lot of questions about the world in chat. Why don't you come and check out Relaxing in Paradise on Wednesday nights at 8:30 p.m., where I talk about the lore and the world and can answer all your questions about the
Petition to change it to
esotericness.
Paradise Nights.
Ooh, I do like
Paradise.
that.
Nice.
I might change it to that because I am gonna have to change the day when I start teaching my class in the fall. So we'll talk. So look out for the name change when it. But anyway, what's that stealth check, Timber?
It's 24. Woo!
24. Okay. So you step through the passageway. As far as you can tell, no one seems to hear you. You were somewhat correct in that the Amber Thistle is less guarded than it was before. You see, there are guards in the tavern, but they're sort of clustered around specific entry points and exit points. So when you ascend these steps, you do see there are three bruisers who are all kind of clustered around that side entrance on the right side of the tavern where Cal had entered, and you see the kind of green room area he was with that one bartender and just sort of weapons on the walls before he entered into the fighting pit. There is no bartender there. There's just sort of weapons scattered across the walls. You see these three guards standing there, very tense. You see one is staring back into the room and down the hall. One is kind of like at the door, occasionally like opening it and looking out and closing it and listening, and the other one is just sort of between the two of them, kind of gripping a large battle axe as they're just sort of tensely keeping an eye on this exit and entrance. You see to the left is where it leads to another set of stairs where you can see light at the end of it, presumably leading into the main hall.
I'll probably go there.
Yeah. So as you enter into the main hall, you can see a similar cluster of these guards at the entrance to the main hall, the front door of the entire place. You see there's probably about four of them up in that front area. You see three guards on the opposite side who are all uh, above that like cellar door that Wiswick and Scarlet had entered in from, which is directly across from where you've just entered from. You see it's open, and you see another guard step up out of it, kind of checking in with them, potentially probably a patrol down in that entranceway, as he very shortly after descends back down. And then you see the dais where Thatcher was, and you can see all the party accoutrement is still there. The tables are still there with candles and plates, half-eaten food all around. It seems once everything went down, they pretty much emptied it out except for essential personnel in this hall. And you see behind the dais, you can see the glass cases where you would see a book in one of them, and then the other one is empty. And then there's a shattered one in the middle, or at least you see a dais that has a kind of like a cloth, a crimson cloth kind of thrown over it, a cloak, if you will, and kind of covering the shattered glass, just showing this empty case between these two other cases. You do see there is a guard kind of patrolling back and forth in front of them up there.
Well, trying not to be tempted by the leftover food. Timber is going to. There are how many guards in this room? What's and there's just the one guard up top patrolling.
There's just one guard up by the glass case, and then there are 4 guards across the way, one that's patrolling underground and coming up every now and then 4 guards at the entrance to the hall, and then 3 guards behind you. So there's a total of 12 guards in this room, in this general space.
Okay. What's the light situation in here?
So there are Gwyn lights tressing from a chandelier in the top. So the area is pretty fairly well lit. There's small pockets of dim light in corners, but there isn't really a lot of shadow necessarily. I'd say at this point they've turned off the Gwyn. Shut down the Gwyn lights. So the main, I'd say, in the deepest corners of the room, there is shadow. Kind of think about the lighting scheme of any feast in Game of Thrones. That's how it is right now, kind of that candlelit hall look, as they have actually at this point, because they're kind of on, they've turned off the Gwyn lights. So I'd say it's dim light in all of the outer parts of the hall, save where the guards are clustered, where they may have a torch or a lantern.
How formulaic is this patrolling guard? So he's like a video game kind of guard, or he's just running the same back and forth. You know, you can kind of.
He's kind of, you actually looking at him, because he's not really guarding a very large space. So his patrolling is a lot more like anxious pacing. And then occasionally he'll like lean on one of the chairs and look out at the hall. He looks very nervous, and like he's just sort of walking back and forth out of nerves, occasionally leaning against a chair, looking out at the hall, maybe occasionally looking at the book in the case. But it's not, I wouldn't say there's a pattern to it. It's more hectic and manic.
What Timber's gonna do is follow his movements, and just as a first instance, when he walks past the one case with a cloth on it, all Timber's gonna do is just pull down the cloth and then walk back.
Oh, okay. So you grab the cloth and step back.
Yeah,
and just holding the cloth or drop it.
No, immediately drop it. Pull it down and drop it.
Okay. So
Just
as
right
if
on the floor.
it's
as if it just fell, because Timber wants to see what's behind it.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a stealth check with advantage because you're missing.
Yeah. Oh, not good. Well, I mean, it's still okay, but 15.
15. Oof. Lucky he rolled pretty low.
Oh.
The nerves are getting to him. As you see, he doesn't seem to notice you. You kind of wait until he's leaning up against one of the chairs, looking out at the room. He's kind of just holding this dagger in one hand. And you sneak behind him and just pull it out and let it fall to the ground. What you see underneath it is shattered glass. Kind of fragments of the glass, much like the case. And you would see at the base of the it's kind of like a shallow concaveness to the stand, and you would see in that concave center, where presumably the item would normally be held, there are some runes there that are kind of they're not glowing at all. They're just completely dull and dark. He does quickly whip around because he does hear the cloth kind of pull and fall. And that nervous guard hears something in the wind. Oh, I threw a bottle and it smashed, and for some reason they don't immediately go on much higher alert for the entirety of the time there's a broken bottle.
Yeah.
But he does kind of start to slowly walk over to essentially pick up the what you also notice when you grab the cloth is that it's like a full cloak. It's not really a cloth. It's just sort of someone like threw one of their cloaks over this.
Okay. Can when he's walking over to pick up the cloak, can I inspect to see if there's any similar runes on the bookcase?
Yeah, go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Oh, 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 oh. Well, I don't think I have any modifiers to this actually, but it's still okay. I got a 15.
Okay, so kind of keeping your steps careful and close as you're wandering around. This guy, avoiding him completely in your invisible state, kind of out in the open, really. But your monk training allows you to keep quiet as you move around, and you do see at the base of the one with the book in it. You do see runes at the inside the concave sort of bowl at the base. And you do see that they are very faintly lit. I think they're glowing a little bit. What was your investigation check again?
It was 15.
15. Okay, so that's, yeah, you notice that they're very faintly lit.
All right, that's it.
Okay.
Timber,
You gonna?
Timber wouldn't. So, yeah, Timber's gonna try to find a way out of here.
Okay. So you are kind of looking around, and you've noticed there's 1, 2, 3, 4 exits really here. 5 actually, really. You've got the ones that are very obviously doorways of this building.
Trapdoor.
Front door and the
Gonna
two
go-
side doors.
Gonna go to the trapdoor.
Okay.
With
So
the one
you're gonna
guard
go.
going patrolling down.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So you kind of make your way back. I'd say at this point you're in the second half, a little ways into the second half of your invisibility. As you tread back, you pass the room where Thatcher is again. If you wanted to do any kind of perception check or listen in there, or do you
Yeah.
want to keep moving?
Yeah, no, I would probably listen in once more.
Okay. So go ahead and give me a perception check.
14.
14. Okay. So you don't hear fully, and I'll say if you wanted to, you can like kind of peek an eye into to see if you get any visuals.
Yeah.
So Thatcher is wielding the sword that you heard about. He just has it at his side. It has got this obsidian blade with several red runes carved into it. It's a longsword in style. You really only overhear him talking to his general. You can kind of see him. He's taken off the pallid mask at this point. And you can see he has kind of like a cluster of red bandages all around where Cal had cut his face open. He is not disguised. He has gray skin, exactly like Scarlet's. His hair is still swept back in a similar fashion. It seems as though his disguise was mainly hiding his Genasi origin. His clothes look different from what you saw outside as well. His coat is much more shaggy and has a lot more patchwork in it, and it's duller and older. He's not wearing a nice vest and a tunic underneath. He's wearing studded or half plate armor underneath. And he looks much more like capable of fighting underneath than what you saw him before in his more fancy clothes. But you see just that it's this devious spitting image of Scarlet twisted with the scars on his face and sort of the gauntness of his face. But you can see that they are twins and see that resemblance beyond just the red hair and gray skin. There's to be cliche, a fire in the eyes that reminds you of Scarlet. But what you mainly overhear is him saying, "They were staying somewhere, right? We must know where they were staying. And the guard is like, so we had someone following him, but he never came back. We're following one of them. They never came back. We can check with the urchins to see if any of them know where they were. Check all of the taverns. Even her tavern.
As he struggles to find the name.
As I struggle to find the name. Even check. Be subtle about it. Check Embla's tavern. She might try to kill you if you step foot in there. So be careful. But check them all. Yes, sir. And you see that, kind of see as out of the corner of your eye, that guard leaving, as Thatcher is just sort of pacing in a rage, looking around the room. As you see, he kind of steps closer to like the torture table and kind of just presses his hands down on the table. As you can see the fire burning underneath his hands, like molten lava underneath his hands, as it starts to singe and smoke from the tables. And you're like, I think I should go.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is enough. I've got enough. As you kind of like, all right, get the fuck out of here. And you back out. You back up back into the hallway to where the trapdoor is. And you see that the guard or the bandit is still searching through. You see most of the guards have had their armor removed, and he's now examining any treasures they had on them. He's like sort of one by one taking the rings off of Jarl Borg or Warden Borg's fingers and examining them for their value. Is there something you wanted to do in here?
Yeah, well, actually, before I left Thatcher's torture room, the pallid mask, was it anywhere in his vicinity?
Yes. So you would have seen it kind of hanging from kind of his side.
Okay, never mind.
Underneath. Yeah. It's not just like sitting on the table.
Okay. All right. Yeah, just wondering.
It's off, but it's kind of like
What's Timber's sleight of hand?
It's it's +7.
Oh.
Pretty good.
But you sneak past this guard with no problem, considering your record of high stealth rolls here, and he is deeply distracted by the rings. So and the doorway's already open. So you start to slowly descend the ladder there, which leads you into a quite a long dark tunnel that has little every 20 feet or so. There's a torch lit that leads down the hall, and you move carefully down it. It's fairly linear. It's wide enough to move several people. You actually see at the base of the ladder, there's like a cart there that's emptied, that you presume they gather the bodies or the belongings in and bring them through the tunnel to this point. You move through all the way to the end where you can see another ladder, and you can see an open latch up above, leading up into what you presume is the needle and thread. You can see that there's not really any lights lit up there. It's fairly dark. There might still just be that single kind of office up above that you presumed Kriya, the enchantress, was in. It's very quiet.
Yeah, then Timber would go up there, if that's the case.
Give me a stealth check.
Yes, sir. Oh, come on. Oh, no. My luck ran out. 11?
So, Timber, you have a moment when you start to climb up and reach the top, and you're sticking your head out. You're invisible though, and you very quickly realize there are 3 of these bandits standing all around this trapdoor with just weapons drawn like this. Just sort of like like this is their post to watch this singular exit or entry. You see one of them has his back to you, kind of looking out, as the other two both are kind of like looking down. You see the first one is kind of what was your roll again?
11.
You see the first one's kind of looking around. You see them dart their eyes towards you as they hear something, and then you see the one on the left doesn't do anything at first. The one on the right looks and immediately goes for a swing down towards you. And the one on the left does follow suit at the same, as they both have spotted you together. As the first attack, which is still at disadvantage because you're invisible, is an 18 to hit.
It just hits.
Okay.
Oh no!
That'll be 8 points of slashing damage.
Okay.
Does that end invisibility?
No.
Okay.
The next one is a 15 to hit.
Does not hit.
Okay, that actually fits because the one who hit you got a natural 20 on his perception check, and the one who didn't hit you got a 12. Still saw you, but I'm saying from the aid of the other one swinging at you is when he was like, "Oh, do it too." But you watch as this axe sinks down, and the guy feels it like dig into your shoulder, and you can actually see like your blood squirts out a little bit, and you see like it like splatters against the wood and becomes visible. And he kind of pulls the axe out and shouts out, "We've got one! We've got one!" As the other guard immediately turns, and you can hear some commotion above. I'll say it's your turn to do something if you would like.
Is it dark in the? It's dark in there, right?
It's pretty dark in there. Yeah, like there's definitely pockets of shadow.
Okay, I'm gonna blink. I'm gonna concentrate
I had a
at the
feeling you were gonna-
corner of the room, and I'm gonna focus on that.
Now
point.
that feature.
It's not a spell.
Is it an action though?
It is not. It's a bonus action.
So I believe that might break invisibility.
Attacks or spells?
It just as attacks or spells?
Just as attacks
Spell
or
ends for
spells.
target. Yep. All right. I'll because it's a class feature, you are good. All right. So you suddenly feel this blade sink into your shoulder, and you're just, and then you vanish and reappear invisible in a shadowy corner that's just below where that lofted area is, where Kriya's workshop is. And you kind of look as these three guards are looking at this spot, and you see one of them just like swings through nothing, and they're like, "He could be anywhere in here. Keep an eye out." As you see them start to fan out.
I'm gonna try to control my breathing from being hurt and stealth out of there.
Okay, cool.
Make sure you're not bleeding.
Yeah,
you are definitely bleeding.
Cover the wound. Yeah.
Cool. So you're grasping at your wound to try to keep the blood from dripping down to give any trail. Give me that stealth check.
Okay, that's better. Dirty 20 again.
Dirty 20, nice. Okay. Oof. They just don't see you with a 19. As you see, like, you're kind of like slowly moving, and kind of you're a little bit more frantic this time as you kind of like turn to look, and you see one of them is just like right in front of you, like with their like short sword, just sort of like, and you slowly back away from them as you see them just sort of like the swing into the air where you just were. As you know, the other thing too is like whispers have been going through the ranks now of like what you guys did to the guys downstairs and the bodies down there. So they're like, "Oh, I saw Jimmy. It looked like his soul was drained out of him by some sort of magic." Some sort of Ilya inflict wounds. So they're all very on edge. But you are able to slip past, and you can open up the door and leave if you'd like.
Getting out of there.
Okay. So you very quickly open the door and use your abilities to kind of like evade and find the shadows to blink away from the door. They do hear the door open, and you do see they all kind of rush outside, but you find kind of a place to hide, and they're doing the exact same thing. They call out, and you see some more guards from another building come running over with torches, as you just can hear them be like, I think one of them's here. We hit it with an axe, and it is bleeding. Which something's here. It's invisible. Alert all the guards. So you are on the streets of the Blighted Row. How would you like to try to get out of here?
Getting the hell out of there. The same way I got in.
So through the
Get over the gate.
because you
Yeah.
got over the gate. Yeah, easy enough to do while being invisible. I'd say you kind of use those shadows to blink here and there to avoid passing patrols of guards. As you notice that there are still quite a lot of them in the camp, but they've emptied it out. Like all of the people who are gambling and whatnot are all gone. It's a ghost town right now, except for the few pairings and triples of guards moving around. But you find yourself, you clutch at your shoulder and pull yourself up over the kind of detritus-based barricades all around, and kind of slowly, grabbing at each point, fall down to the path below. Did you want to go to the front area or drop down near the path that leads to the river?
I don't
Because
think
there's the way everyone entered. That's from like the actual path that leads here, and then there's that side gate that has a path that leads down to the shore of the river.
I guess he would take the probably. I don't know what he would take. He would probably take the side gate, or whatever is the most direct way to the inn in which they stayed.
Oh, direct way to the inn would be to go back to the front gate and take the path back into the city.
Oh, okay. Or in that case, then I'm just gonna take the path.
Because it hugs the stone wall that you can't climb over.
Yeah.
Until you get that monk feature that lets you
9th level.
climb. Okay, so you make your way. I'd say if you wanted to give me a quick perception check as you leap over the fence and are
that's
on
high.
the path.
That's a 26.
26. Okay, so I will say you do notice there is a band of them at the shore with torches that seem to be starting to split up and head north and south on the riverway. Now, before you move on back into the city, I'm going to check back in with the party because there's a time difference here. So, for the rest of you, you're moving your way through this narrow tunnel. Scarlet is unconscious. You can see kind of a position up ahead where the tunnel turns sharply to the left in one position, and then continues downward in forward position.
We keep rowing.
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking. It's pretty obvious this is a tributary to this sewer canal.
Mhm.
It's a very very low descension, but there is another passageway there, but you keep rowing down the straight path.
Wait, just so that tributary runs into this one?
Correct.
All right. While I'll pass, Kieran will simply do a perception check to look up it to see what lies up there, and that's a 27.
Okay. So as you pass, you do notice deeper down that tunnel, there with your dark vision, your exceptional dark vision, you can see these what appear to be non-moving spiders on the ceiling. Large spiders that just seem to be kind of clutched in a gathering of webbing up on the ceiling, that you can see they don't seem to notice you right now, because you don't really have any lights on or anything like that as you're moving down. And this area is quite dark, but Kieran, you can see enough to guide the boat because you're not really rowing at this point. You're pushing the sides of the wall. So you may want to do it quieter at this point, because you notice there are these dormant-looking spiders on the ceiling of the, and you see that tunnel is like deeply webbed.
Right. So Kieran passes information along, pointing towards the spiders. It's a good thing we aren't exploring down here. Seems there's many creepy crawlies that linger in the sewers of men.
Do you have anything left to help Scarlet? She doesn't look like she's doing okay.
I do, but I think it might be better to leave her alone for the time being. Less questions to answer. Kieran
Right,
says a look of concern.
All I'm saying is if we get another attack again, it'd be nice to have another sword hand ready, you know?
Yes, it also seems like it was a self-inflicted unconsciousness. As if she...
No, we don't need to wake her up. Maybe just give her a little bit of healing while she's asleep. I don't know. I don't know how magic works.
I mean, I could say, Kieran, you have control enough over your magic that if you wanted to heal without bringing her to consciousness, you can.
Okay. No, I'm gonna say the spell slots.
Cool. So you continue down the path, perhaps a bit quieter now as you're pushing onward, and eventually you do see, this is particularly here where it starts to descend more aggressively, and the water starts to move quicker. You do see at the end light, the light of the moonlight outside, illuminating an opening that leads out into the waterways.
As we pick up speed, I lift my hands up in the air. Disney.
What'd you say? You kind of cut out there.
Oh, sorry. I lift my hands up in the air like I'm in Disney World. Splash Mountain.
On a flume ride.
As it looks, it's definitely the boat's definitely moving a little bit faster, but it's funny to see Wisbick hands up as it's just sort of like.
It's more like Pirates of the Caribbean.
It's a small world.
You
lesser known, but just as good. It's a mid-sized world.
You do get
Honda sedans. Keep going.
You do get down to the opening to the sewer tunnels, where you can see it's sort of this small mouth that leads into the mouth of shallow water that leads directly into the river. That you can push the boat and continue rowing directly into the river if you'd like. You could also stop at all or kind of try to keep the boat from going directly out. It's the current of the sewer is not strong enough just to drag the boat into the river. But the more you get out, the more the waters will start to pick up.
Right.
Yeah, that was the plan. So I think that's fine with me. I'd say the goal is to jet out here quickly, but not ridiculously fast, and get towards the center of the river.
Okay.
Kieran's definitely going to be keeping an eye out for anything as we pop out.
Yeah. Wiswick ducks back down because he wants to stay as hidden as possible.
Okay. Yeah, I would maybe get low as I'm rowing.
That's mainly why I was like, you're about to be out in the open. Do you want to just keep going and not try to do anything? I mean, it's, Kieran, give me that perception check. And I guess just for the sake of it, if you guys could give me stealth checks.
Perception is 23. Stealth.
Does Scarlet get a natural 20?
For being...
Yeah, she's obscured. She's obscured from the vision of others. She's quiet as the grave.
Right.
There's more of gravy than a grave about you. It's a 9.
I rolled my second 19 of the night, making it.
So to be fair, I'm rowing, so.
I know.
Dude, at this point.
All right, here comes the first Lord of the Rings reference. You're rowing like the orcs crossing the Osgiliath River into in Return of the
Stealthy,
King.
but they're very
stealthy, but they're like and then when they're like, row faster, and it's like still quietly though, and they're like,
yeah. Wait. Well, I could and probably should. Do we have any spare clothes or cloths?
I mean, do you? I mean, it would
Yeah,
be in
I
your
do.
inventory if you do.
But okay.
That's what I mean.
I wondered if
yeah.
there was like a tarp that was covering this boat or anything, you know?
No, there wasn't a tarp when you were down
Shucks.
there.
Okay, because I was gonna wrap our oars.
If you have any kind of
No,
cloaks or anything like that.
I don't have time for it.
Okay. Yeah,
It
because you
doesn't make any
pretty much have to like
Yeah.
stop the boat and take the time to wrap them, which time seems to be what your ally here. All right, so you Kieran, what did you get your perception check?
23, I think. And a 10 for stealth.
10 for stealth, and then Wiswick, what'd you get for stealth?
22.
22. Okay. So, what you notice is that you've been deposited quite a distance from not like you maybe expected to be deposited like where you could still see the gap a little bit, the blighted row, but you seem to have been deposited where you can see the cliffside and maybe like the top of the amber thistle, but you are like just before, like you're pretty much under the bridge that you guys crossed.
And that's the bridge on the west side of the city?
Correct. So like you're a little bit out in the open, like past the bridge, but you can pretty easily be under the bridge quickly when you push off.
Okay.
And you based on that position, you don't see anyone upriver as far as like patrols or anything like that. You
Up
do
in the north?
Yes, north, upriver towards where the gap is. You don't see any like patrols heading up on the coast of on either side of the banks. As you are underneath the bridge now and can kind of push off into the middle, you do notice there are guards, those bruisers, up on the bridge.
The bridge.
Yes. So you notice those guards. You shove off. You're not particularly quiet about shoving off. What would you like to do at that point?
Are we in the current?
You are in the current.
I'm keeping the oars. I'm taking the oars in, and I'm just floating for a sec, drifting, as it were, using the current.
Kieran is going to prepare darkness, and at the first sign that someone on that bridge is like, "Hey, what's that down there?" Gonna cast it.
Okay, and that's exactly what happens. As you shove off, that one noise before you let the currents just start taking the boat does bring one of the guards off to the side, and you can kind of see that the torch coming as they look off down below. And Kieran, the darkness envelops all of you as Wiswick, Cal, you both lose sight of everything around you as you're in pitch darkness. And you see he kind of looks down, and you can Kieran, can you see in darkness? No.
Nope,
All right.
I don't. Yeah.
So you're kind of tensely waiting in this shadowy darkness as you're floating. You can just hear the boat rocking beneath you. And then you pass onto the other side of the bridge, and you just hear from above, "I think I saw something down there. I think we should check it out." As the guards didn't see you, but they did see a void moving through above the water. So they have decided to come down and check the shore side. Now, you're probably not going to be there though when they get down there. The river's going to take you, so you feel generally safe. But you can keep the darkness up if you'd like.
Oh yeah, no, it lasts 10 minutes until until we're decent. I'd say probably hold it up for 5 minutes or so. Maybe not the whole time, just to
Mm-hmm.
Does it follow us, or
it's centered on Kieran? We'll put it that way.
Okay.
So it's tracks with Kieran.
Yeah, and the river gets darker as it goes down. You know,
Right.
where that spot is, there's more lights that can bleed down over the river. So you feel fairly confident keeping it up for a little while. And when you take it down, you can notice that you've moved pretty far down the river in 5 minutes. The stream is quite strong, pulling you down. You do notice that you've kind of like moved away from the middle, but you're by no means about to beach or anything like that. As you look back, and you can see that you're on your left side or your right side is on your right side is the outer stead. So you see like kind of like the makeshift reeds reeded fencing that kind of like sticks woven between sticks fencing all around these little village huts and longhouses. You can see some lights in the windows, and occasionally you can see torches moving between the homes. Um, and then to your left, you actually see more land starts to come as you're making your way further and further away from the walls of the Tempest Hold and away from Orangeshire's center.
We're gonna keep on keeping on, man.
That's what
We're
I
headed
figured.
out to. I want to. My goal is 2 miles past the last like suburb of Oranshire.
No, yeah, that makes
Uh,
sense. Like, do you mean when you say do you mean 2 miles past the like clustered suburb, or do you mean like site of a home?
if there's like a home, like a farm or whatever, when we're
Yeah.
out far enough, that's fine. But I mean,
Okay.
like any kind of like where this is very clearly no longer the city. This is now like the farmers that live
Yeah,
in the
rural
infill
side.
between. Yeah,
Yeah, or like a tiny little hamlet or something.
yeah.
Okay. Easy enough to do. I mean, you could really just keep quiet and let the river take you, just checking to make sure, only bringing the oars out to keep yourself fairly in the center. That's easy enough to do. Timber, you start heading into the city. You enter the Outerstead Squall district, which is mostly empty. You can see some bruisers are moving through. Go ahead.
I would like to note that at this point, when we're tracing through the city, he's probably going to be in wolf form.
Yeah. So I'll say that drops your. I mean, you can keep your invisibility for a little bit longer because that doesn't drop invisibility. I'd say you really only have like a couple minutes left on it, though.
Okay.
It's pretty much going to come off as soon as you're in the Outerstead Squall proper, because it took a little while to get to the gap from there. So once you're in there, kind of like you find a safe hiding spot, and turn into a wolf. I'd say Wiswick, you feel your spell fade, and your concentration fade, as Timber, you are moving through the back alleys of the city. You can see these bruisers are like banging on doors of shops as they're moving through. You can actually see some of them going up and banging on the door of the Withering Wick, as you're moving through. Would you like to make just that beeline to?
Seeing the Withering Wick get banged on, Timber would stop.
Okay.
And
I think
making
Sorry.
making sure that the situation is clear. After the situation is clear, he would continue on, but depending on what happens here.
Okay. Wiswick, did you want to do something once you felt that spell end?
Yeah, I think that after that spell ended, I don't know how the timing kind of matches up, but Wiswick would probably, when we were quietly passing by everyone, he would begin writing another note to Robert and just updating our location.
Okay. Easy enough to do. Yeah, I'd say it would be about the time at some point while you were on the river, once you were finally on the river proper. So, Timber, you'd like to keep an eye on what happens there?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. You don't need to do a perception check. You could find a fairly safe spot to watch. You're a dog. Um, as you just kind of like lay down and hide amongst the muck next to one of the darkest shops, I'll say. As you see two bruisers, one with a torch and the other one just banging on the door constantly over and over. I mean, you know your friend in there is it's going to take a second for him to wake up and come downstairs. But eventually you see some lights lit inside, the gas lanterns lit as Gunvald Chandler opens the door and a questioning begins. And you can see quite clearly he's playing what he always does. Fumbling old man who doesn't know anything and is confused, even though you know he's got a pretty sharp mind. you can hear barking inside from Vundar. It's probably the thing that stresses you out the most. So you're worried about Vundar kind of attacking, maybe. Things seem to escalate at a certain point when they start to shout at him. You can kind of barely somewhat hear the details as they're kind of like shouting about let us inside, old man. Uh, they assume he's kind of like fumbling, and they don't see through his his ploy, but they just are like annoyed by him. And you see one of them grabs him and pulls him out and kind of like tosses him to the ground, and he kind of falls tumbling forward as he kind of like rolls on his back. And at that point you see Vundar.
Okay.
Yeah, you would see Vundar barking and start to come at the door and stand guard at the door, barking at these dogs, growling at these two bruisers. Is there anything you'd like to do?
Yeah, at the moment of attempting to attack the old man, Timber would engage in combat. Or pounce on... Yeah. You muted.
Okay, so you want to engage.
Yes.
All right, so are you going to charge forward and attack them?
If they
or-
are going to attack, yes. The old man.
It does look... they don't
Look-
attack the old man, but it does look like they might attack Vundar.
Okay, yeah, then I'll probably still...
Yeah, because he's
protect them.
blocking their way, and they're just like, in their
Yeah.
mind, they're just like stupid dog, and they're gonna hit him and try to knock him out or kill him. So, how do you want to attack? They have not seen you yet, so
So, Timber's going to try to grab their attention, basically.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and go for their ankles.
Okay.
Go for their legs. Yeah, just the thinnest
All right.
thinnest part of their leg that he can get his full mouth around.
I'll say, since they're distracted by the barking of Vundar, you can pick left or right, and you can go for a advantaged surprise round attack on them.
Yeah. That's a natural 20.
Nice.
And I think, sorry, I want to pull up the wolf sheet. Oh, no, I know what it is. Actually, now that I remember. Because I'm not level 8 yet.
Exactly.
Okay. So that is 2, 3, 4. Sorry, math. It's 10 damage and then DC 13 strength saving throw for prone. Oh wait, sorry. It was a crit. So that's
20 damage?
17.
17. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. And what was the DC again?
I think it's 13.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
You lunge forward and you bite into this bruiser's ankle and start to pull him down to the ground. You do successfully knock him prone, and as soon as you attack him, Vundar lunges forward to attack the other guard, and is going to hit and essentially do essentially the same thing. He is going to deal 5 points of damage to him, and that guy... Oops, that's cocked. That guy is not knocked prone, and he's sort of surprised. They're in their kind of like surprise state, so you'll get another attack on them. They don't get an attack on this first turn of initiative. But you are now engaged, and you can, you're not sure if there's other guards nearby. They wouldn't be... You didn't see any in this immediate vicinity. But you're going to get another attack now immediately because they lose their turns for the surprise round.
Okay.
Or their surprise state.
I'm gonna bonus action shift into a hybrid.
Okay.
And bludgeoning, not slashing.
Okay.
On the
Are
man
you
that's
going
prone.
for
Man that's
knockouts instead of
yes, knockouts.
kills?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes. Oh, I just rolled damage. I am sorry. Let me roll attack.
You have advantage because he's prone.
Okay. That's good. It's a 19 to hit.
Definitely hits.
Ooh, max damage. It's 10 damage.
Okay, so as soon as you kind of come out of the form, you see the guard just sort of like as you kind of bones crack and you sort of come up into this tall, skinny, monstrous wolf hybrid man, and you just go, and he just knocked out immediately. As there is the one other guard now.
Um, and I will. Can I make attack on him too?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll allow it.
Do I get my flanking with? No, I missed.
No. All right, so you kind of turn. Plus, actually, I don't think you had anything left to attack with anyway, because you used your bonus action to shift.
Well, I counted. I was thinking the same attack action.
Oh, I see.
But
Okay, but Vundar he's gonna attack this guy deeper, and he does get advantage for his pack tactics. Uh, that's not a D20. All right, he is definitely gonna hit and deal max damage, which is not enough though to kill him though, but it will, or not. Yeah, he would go for the kill. The guy does resist the bludgeoning or the prone attack condition. He is going to immediately go for a swing on Lundar though. This is the point. And I don't want to kill a dog. And thankfully I did not hit him. Vundar, you see Vundar kind of disengages from the bite lock and kind of backs away as he swings his short sword at Vundar, and then kind of like turns and sees you properly now, as it is your turn now.
yeah. I'm gonna punch the other man.
Pop, pop.
Pop, pop. I'm gonna get flanking position first.
I'll allow it.
Sweet. Okay, that's much better. That's a 24.
That definitely hits.
That is 8 damage. Second attack. Do I need to?
You do not need to. You
Okay.
can knock this guy out now. If there's any flourish you want to do, go for it.
And being distracted, like leaning over, at Yundar, Timur's actually gonna snap his neck.
You're gonna kill him.
Yeah, just gonna, yeah.
Okay.
Upon, the initial crack, Timur's gonna try to, like, stave off Yundar and be like, down boy, down boy.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna have you make any animal handling check. You've got a good relationship with this dog. At first, there's a moment where he doesn't recognize you at first, but then, upon kind of sniffing and reconfiguring himself, he calms down, and it's like day and night. He's immediately ears down and tongue out, panting as he just comes running up to you, and then quickly runs over to help Gundar or Gunvald stand up, who you see is struggling at first. He seems to have hurt himself a little bit, and then he kind of looks up and he kind of looks around, feels and grasps onto Gundar's collar, and then kind of looks around.
Yeah, Timber immediately runs over to Gundar. And you have to get inside the old man. Come on. Yeah.
Kaze?
Yes, it is I. Come on.
I had the feeling it was you.
Don't answer the door next time. Pretend you're sleeping. Get inside. Turn off the lights.
You see Gundar leads him inside easily enough. You see the lights go out, the door locks shut, and you have protected your friend.
Timber is going to drag those bodies to the sewer, that the entrance that the rat showed him, and also look for the rat.
Eat these bodies for me?
You know what? I said he'd be there. And you see a little rat there, kind of like sees you and comes scurrying up to you. You can't talk to it, but it sees you and kind of looks up, like squeaking a little bit.
I'm gonna reach deep in my pocket and try to see if I can scrooge the last of the rotting sausage. You just drop it for it.
Give me an animal handling check with advantage.
The sausage had a long way. It's been quite an adventure.
It's been quite an adventure for it. It's a 16.
Didn't I give the rat a name last time too? But anyway,
You thought about naming it Wilbur, but I don't think you did.
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. All right. So what was it again? The roll.
16.
Okay, so the rat immediately goes up and bites into the sausage and kind of like is holding it there for a moment, sitting upright and sort of trying to like force the whole wedge into its mouth, into its cheek, and then just sort of stops and holds it, looks up at you, and like kind of like as best it can, like holds onto it, and then starts to scurry into the sewer.
And then I continue doing what I was doing. So dragging the bodies, and then once I'm gonna snap the other guy's neck also.
Okay.
FYI, no, I'm gonna kill both of them. And I'm just gonna drop their bodies in the sewer, and then go.
Okay.
I'm also gonna try to make sure that there's no blood trail from.
There is no blood trail because of you dealt primarily bludgeoning damage.
Right.
So you deposit these bodies down. I'd like you to just give me a general stealth check for this whole thing. What'd you get?
2.
Okay, so what I'm going to say is as soon as you deposit the bodies, you start to hear more guards or more bruisers kind of fanning out into this district from down the street where you would have seen them kind of breaking into or forcing their way into other shops. And now they're kind of coming down here since their men haven't returned. You are in kind of like the back alley. If you'd like, you could try to circumvent them, or you could go into the sewer to avoid them.
Probably go in the sewer.
Okay. Do you want to just wait them out, or do you want to try to get back to where the rat showed you through the sewer?
Well, that would lead me back to. I'm not trying to get back to I'm trying to meet them northwest, right? Wait, or am I?
I thought you
Robert.
were.
Robert.
I thought you were going to get Robert.
I'm going to get Robert. Sorry, for some reason I thought my plans changed. No, I'm going back in the sewer, and then where the way the rat showed me.
Okay, and when you get into the sewer, you look, and the rat is waiting there. All right, you're here. Let's go. He doesn't say that. As he starts to run back, and you follow the rat as he does lead you back into the upper city, where you can you've quietly avoided the prying eyes of these patrols. You make your way up into the city. I don't remember exactly where you met the rat at first and had gone into the sewers.
I think I literally jumped out the building.
It was pretty close by.
Yeah,
it was pretty close by. So I'm gonna say you're very close by to the to where you're staying. You can head now quietly. You can go back to the dog form if you want to head back to the Grace and Duchess Inn.
How high up was my balcony?
Your balcony, you guys, if I'm not mistaken, were on the 3rd floor. So it would be pretty high. I'd say at least.
Could I blink onto a first-story balcony and then into a
yes, because there is a balcony. There is a balcony, and you guys didn't. And unless Robert put some lanterns out there, you could successfully get up to your balcony from out there.
Okay. I would like to do that, and then just exit out of the room and be like, Robert! Robert! Only to see that they're not there. Hopefully.
The room is a mess.
Oh.
The room has been ransacked and pilfered. You do not see the guard or the stalker that Cal had captured. You do not see Caleb. You do not see Robert. You're uncertain if Robert got out or not, because people who ransacked this room may have taken whatever was here. But the room is turned over. It's dark. There's maybe like one torch lit still. It's just everything's turned over, cushions ripped open. Your rooms have been ransacked.
Do I see
You do
Wizard's
see-
sock anywhere?
You do not.
Okay.
You do see one body, dark and kind of covered on the side with a sheet. And for a moment, you're like, "Is this Robert?"
Mage hand?
You can mage hand it over, and it is a bruiser whose throat has been slit.
Oh. Alright, well, cover that back up. Time to go!
Yeah. So, and this is where we'll end tonight. As you're kind of like moving about the room, you hear some commotion in the hallway outside. What would you like to do?
Put my ear against the door.
You hear some heavy footsteps. You can see some torchlight from behind the door, and you can hear just some low grunting and a low deep voice saying, "Oh, you've got to be here somewhere. You check that room. I'll check this one." As you then hear the doorknob start to wiggle.
I would immediately dash out of there and probably jump out the window again.
Okay.
Or the balcony.
I'd say as you're about to dash out, you're stepping back towards the balcony. The door opens up. He bashes it open. You see him stepping forward. You see he sees the body of the other bruiser, and he looks around and he spots you as you're about to jump out the window. You turn back and look, and you see Embla comes out of the shadows and slits this guy's throat immediately and pushes him to the ground. And then you hear commotion in the next room as you hear a voice go, "Oh, he's dead! He's dead! I killed him! Oh, shit! I've never killed anyone before." As Embla looks up at you, as you kind of like are halfway out the balcony, and you just make eye contact, and then you see Robert run into the room, and he's like, "Oh, he's dead too! Oh, Timber."
Robert?
And that's where we'll end tonight.
Oh,
Thank God. Thank God. Scarlet could have died, and I would have been a little sad. But if Robert died, I would have been like, I fucked this up.
Oh, I was real worried about Robert there too.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah.
worry about Robert.
But that's how we'll end tonight. Timber, you've reunited with Robert, and seemingly Embla has helped him stay alive in this moment. As your friends are making their way down river to eventually meet up. Making my way down river to meet up with you.
Rowing fast.
2 miles out of the city, and you are all so far surviving. And hopefully we'll reunite when we start our next session. Thank you everyone for sticking through with us. I hope you all enjoyed tonight's episode, as well as our new fun layout with our stats for our characters, with their fun, interesting quotes, giving you a little bit of who they are in their own words, as well as our excellent waiting room that Alex was the master of. Please join me this Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. for Relaxing in Paradise, where I will be continuing working on this Verwold mini-map and also doing some mini painting, and maybe some gaming. I say it every week, and I never game.
You do say it every week. It doesn't matter.
It's funny because I really want to game, but I don't. But there is a game that I've been want to play on stream that I'll probably try to get into because it looks really cool. But we'll find out about that on Wednesday, and then join Tim and Shannon on Sunday for the Tim and Shannon Power Hour as they discuss what happened tonight. And I believe that'll be the first episode where you guys are going to start talking about some more interesting TTRPG theory crafting, which is very interesting. Some cool questions. So look forward to that. Check that out. Kind of getting into the nitty-gritty questions about TTRPG, like why do we play our characters the way we do?
With Nick from Know Your Role.
Oh, Nick's gonna be there.
Nick's gonna be there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So we'll have a very, very close friend of the show, Nick from Know Your Role, will be there. So check it out. Thanks for joining us tonight in Paradise.
Check
Have
out
a
the
lovely
giveaways.
evening. Check out the giveaways. Follow us on Twitter. Do all sorts of things. Listen to Shannon. She is the
Check out the giveaways.
She's the commander here in chief. All right, folks.
Giveaways.
Give it away,
Good night.
get away now.
We